Chapter 1349. Although the mysterious heaven world and the azure world were very close, they were still tens of thousands of miles apart. This distance was a dangerous distance. Night Sorrow waved his arm and broke through the spatial barrier of the mysterious heaven world. With the spatial intent protecting his body, he flew towards the azure world quickly. The spatial turbulence was very strong, but after being suppressed by Night Sorrow's spatial intent, it was not very powerful and did not pose a threat to him. Night Sorrow's protective shield cut through the space like a blade and approached the azure world. After 10 minutes, Night Sorrow had exhausted half of his power of desolates and bloodline power before arriving at the azure world. With a wave of his right hand, Night Sorrow broke through the spatial barrier and entered the azure world. The spirit chi in the azure world was very dense, and there were some low-grade materials growing. However, Night Sorrow was not interested in them. If they were not king-grade materials or extremely rare materials for refining pills or weapons, Night Sorrow did not need them. Not long after Night Sorrow stabilized himself, a supremacy-level demonic beast came and wanted to attack Night Sorrow. After cultivating to the Saint King realm, one would be able to return to one's natural state. After cultivating the leakless real body, Night Sorrow's aura and energy did not leak out at all. The supremacy-level demonic beast could not sense Night Sorrow's strength and could not charge in front of Night Sorrow. With a wave of his left hand, Night Sorrow threw the demonic beast a few hundred miles away. He did not kill it as he felt that it was not necessary. If there was no need to, he would not kill. This was Night Sorrow's nature. The supremacy-level demonic beast was a little stunned. The young man had just waved his hand lightly, and it was sent a few hundred miles away. What kind of strength was this? Killing it was just a matter of thought. It was just a wave of his hand and a change of thought. Indeed, it was just a matter of thought for Night Sorrow to kill it. A soul destruction slash was enough to kill it easily. Yishan's soul power spread out, and he began to fly around the little azure world to investigate. In order to avoid being disturbed, Night Sorrow released a little bit of his willpower. This way, when he flew past, the demonic beasts prostrated themselves on the ground and did not dare to attack. The suppression of willpower came from his soul. It took Night Sorrow a month to completely explore the azure world microcosm. In a month's time, Night Sorrow had explored the azure world thoroughly. He had even found mineral veins. The highest grade mineral veins were top-grade spirit stones, but Night Sorrow had no interest in them. There were also many saint-level monster beasts. In the eyes of some cultivators, saint-level monster beasts were resources while saint crystals were a medium for comprehending the world order and could be exchanged for resources. However, Night Sorrow was not interested in this matter. Many venerables in the Nine Regions world needed saint crystals, so there was no need for them to hunt for them. Jun Xuanji had bought saint crystals twice in the Qing Emperor city, so he did not have many saint spirit stones left. There were saint crystals of various attributes stored in the commander's manor of the Grand Pure region. That was to say, as long as a cultivator contributed to the Nine Regions world, they could go to the commander's manor to apply for saint crystals suitable for them. Night Sorrow did not want to kill for no reason, but there were many cultivators who gained experience through battle. Hunting saint-level monster beasts was normal, so he would never lack saint crystals. While Night Sorrow was investigating the azure world microcosm, a shocking piece of news came out of the world of reincarnation. The first commander of the Qing Emperor dynasty, Night Sorrow, and the Dark Ruler were engaged to be married. 1 year later, the wedding would be held in the Qing Emperor city. This news was too great. Before Mandela used the soul-nurturing liquid, she was already the #1 female in the world of reincarnation. After using the soul-nurturing liquid, her strength increased even more, and she became even more famous. She had the battle record of defeating other sky overlords, and no one dared to challenge her. Night Sorrow was the first commander of the Qing Emperor dynasty. He was also the promoter of the Eastern Region Alliance in the world of reincarnation. He was the one who made and carried out the Alliance's plan. Although he was not a heaven master, his name was well known. Night Sorrow and Dachiro were engaged, So it was a marriage between two powerful forces. The Red Emperor was drinking tea in the Red Emperor Palace when Akatsuki and Chiwa came. The Red Emperor raised his head. How is it? Do you admit defeat? We admit defeat. This is something that countless men did not even dare to think about for countless years. He did it, and he did it. Akatsuki said, this guy's really capable. He can make Dachira surrender. Amazing. Chiwa nodded. His strategy is top-notch, and his combat strength is not far from top-notch. Chidu was blind. The Red Emperor sighed. His combat strength is not far from top-notch. He's still far from it. Chiwa said, far from it. How did the Qing Emperor recover? The Qing Emperor was besieged by the Heaven Master level puppets of the Celestial Sect. His Dantian and Meridians were destroyed by the destructive energy, and he was poisoned by the evil dragon's venomous centipede. But now he is almost recovered. Why? Because 3 years ago, Knight Sorrow, who was a 7-star king, went to the black-yellow great world to challenge the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. Even a monarch could not succeed, but he did. This means that he had the combat strength of a monarch when he was a 7-star king. Now that he is a 7-star king, do you think he is weak? The Red Emperor looked at his two sons and said, everyone knows about his strategies and tactics, but they ignore his own combat strength and cultivation talent. He rose to power in the Qing Emperor's dynasty because of his combat strength and cultivation talent. Later, he showed his talent and strategy. Akatsuki nodded. Dachira is very insightful. Maybe in the eyes of the world, Knight Sorrow is climbing up the social ladder. But who knows what will happen in the future? The Red Emperor said with some emotion. He admired Knight Sorrow very much. Father, in the past, the Dark Abyss, the Red Emperor's kingdom, and the Qing Emperor's dynasty were allies. Now that they have an engagement, will it have an impact on us? Chiwa said with some concern. P says /forever free J Phi C * petty. The Qing Emperor practices the way of a gentleman. Everyone knows that. Knight Sorrow is a meritorious person. He will not cheat his allies. As for Dachira, she is so arrogant that she disdains to do some things. So don't say such things again in the future. The Red Emperor shook his head. Some people said that those involved could not see clearly. But he knew very well what kind of people the other party was. Li Tianhu also had the same concern. Although he had a high cultivation and was a giant, he was only good at cultivation. He was not good at the ways of the world. But he was not afraid. They were allies. It was not a big deal for them to have an alliance through marriage. As long as the Black Fiend Valley was not affected and could get some benefits, it was fine. Yishang was investigating in the small Azure world. Someone was helping him with the wedding preparations. Jun Xuanji and Xiaoqing knew almost everything about Yishang's social network. As long as they were close to him, they would send invitations, including Yishang's friends in the Black-Yellow Great World and some of Yishang's friends during his growth period, such as Chun Baihe and Heifeng from the Boundless Mountain and Bei Xing from the Big Dipper City. The most irritated person was the Thunder Fire Heaven Lord, the Samsara City Lord. He did not receive an invitation. There were not many top forces and giants in the Samsara Great World who were not invited. Only the Celestial Sect, the Thunder Cliff, and the Thunder Fire Heaven Lord were not invited. The Sima Mansion was also invited. As for Yuan Daotian, there was no other way. He had closed his door and did not contact the outside world. The people of the Medicine Valley had all been notified, and they were all invited. Chapter 1350. As for the lack of results, Knight Sorrow was not anxious. It had only been a month. He was the king. As long as he did not die in battle, he would have a long life. After returning to the mysterious sky world, Knight Sorrow rested for 2 days in a small city near the spatial barrier. Then, he continued to explore the next world. After Knight Sorrow finished exploring the third world, he returned to the city in the sky. Seeing that Knight Sorrow had returned, his family members told Knight Sorrow about the situation. Everything was ready. Old Man Gu, invite all the acquaintances of Bamboo Garden Village over. Knight Sorrow said. When he said this, his heart felt heavy. He knew that other than Uncle Neo, almost all the elders of Bamboo Garden Village were no longer around. The rest were all from the next generation. Original first release normally, people of the same age as Night Sorrow should not be in this world. However, because of Night Sorrow's outstanding performance, the children of Bamboo Garden Village who were the same age as Night Sorrow had all embarked on the path of cultivation. After dinner, Yi Shang apologized to his 3 wives while drinking tea at the mansion's observation deck. Sikong Chuyu smiled. 6th senior sister and 9th senior sister don't mind. Naturally, I don't mind either. Aluo's personality is very good. She's also a good sister to us. Yujun and Qingyan are already grown up. I still have to marry. This is a little embarrassing. Night Sorrow felt a little awkward when he thought about this. And Aluo is very good. She's a big figure and often gives us pointers in our cultivation. Actually, she has long seen me and my brother's family. After Qingyan arrived at the observation deck, she poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. She could also tell that her father was a little stressed. Aluo has helped me a lot over the years. Besides feelings, I am grateful and respect for her. Night Sorrow said. After staying for 2 days, Night Sorrow felt that there was still some time left. He left home to explore again. However, he still did not find anything. After exploring the 7th space, Night Sorrow realized that he had explored more than half of it. There were still a few worlds left. The other was the barren space. At this moment, the Dark Abyss also had a visitor. It was a woman wearing a red dress. Dachira, what's going on with you? How did you get into a fight with the heavenly monarch of Thunderfire? The woman in the red dress asked. Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance, I don't want to either, but there's nothing I can do about it, Dachira said. A few days ago, the Thunderfire Heaven Monarch came to our Sema residence to pay a visit. He said that you seem to have something against him. The woman in the red dress, who is also the Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch, said. Why do I, Dachira, have a problem with him? They didn't quarrel, didn't fight, and didn't target him, right? He has a guilty conscience. Dachira sneered. Leihua's actions were a classic example of the guilty party complaining first. Dachira, although we haven't been in contact for many years, we still have feelings for each other. Today, I came to congratulate you, but I shouldn't talk about this. Is there something that we don't know? Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance asked. Dachira nodded and told her about the shady business of the Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch, the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch, and the Burning Sky Tower Master, who had been taken in by the Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch. There's actually such a thing. He's really playing with everyone in the palm of his hand. The Burning Sky Tower Master cultivates the 1,000 Infant Fist. We also know about this, but we didn't expect that the Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch would take in such a person. Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance was extremely dissatisfied after hearing Dachira's words. The Thundercliff is a force under his command, and Feng and Lei are his disciples. These years, he is hidden too deeply. Let's not talk about the forced purchase in the auction house. However, he shouldn't have taken in the Burning Sky Tower Master. Dachira was angry when he mentioned this, because taking in the Burning Sky Tower Master was a slap to the eastern district of the world of reincarnation. Sigh, I don't ask about the matters of the Sema Manor. Everything is handled by the Manor Lord. When he came to visit a few days ago, I was in seclusion. The Manor Lord agreed to his request and promised to support him in the next City Lord election. Fortunately, I wasn't there at that time, so the Manor Lord's promise had nothing to do with me. In other words, the Manor Lord only got one support in the Sema Manor. The Manor Lord owes him a favor, so there's no other way. Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance said apologetically. I understand. These matters aren't handled by me, but by Night Sorrow. If he fights with Night Sorrow, he will definitely be pulled down. It's useless even if he gets support. Dachira said. I should support you, but the Sema Manor can't support 2 sides. Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance said. It's nothing. I'm very grateful that you came to congratulate me. Dachira said. In fact, after Night Sorrow said that he wanted to kill the Dark Underworld Heavenly Lord, Dachira didn't care who was on whose side. If he didn't understand, he would kill. After Night Sorrow finished exploring the 7th spatial world, he felt that he was lacking. This was because when he went to the seventh spatial world, he couldn't withstand the grinding of the spatial turbulence. After he entered the seventh spatial world, his protective energy was exhausted. The distance between the remaining spatial worlds and the heaven mystic world was getting bigger and bigger. Night Sorrow felt that if the space-time willpower didn't reach Star King's level, he couldn't continue exploring. In addition, there were still 3 months before the wedding. Many guests would come, and he had to receive them. The original body also had to come out of seclusion. The clone could do many things, but only the original body could do the wedding candles. Yishang didn't intend to continue investigating, so he returned to the city in the sky and forged weapons for Gong Xian and the others. After that, Yishang forged a set of armor for each of them. Only then did he feel at ease. He didn't want anything to happen to any of his senior brothers, so he helped as much as he could. After doing all this, Night Sorrow decided to go to the 9 grand floors. He also brought his family. As for safety, Night Sorrow didn't have to worry. Those below the Sky Master level were no threat to the 9 grand floors. As long as a Sky Master level figure entered the Qing Emperor's city, the 3 giants of the Qing Emperor's dynasty would know. Tang Jianfeng arrived at the Qing Emperor's dynasty early. He accompanied the Qing Emperor and threw his son and daughter into the 9 grand floors. This time was different from the Sandalwood wedding. At the Sandalwood wedding, many people came because of the Qing Emperor. In the black-yellow Great World, only the people from the City Lord's mansion came to congratulate. However, this time, not only the people from the City Lord's mansion came, but the other 2 top forces also sent people. The people from the Sea King's mansion arrived. It was the Sea King's mansion master who came with his granddaughter, Hai Ling. The Wuling Mountain master also showed up. Night Sorrow had helped his daughter. Now that Night Sorrow and Dachiro were getting married, he had to come regardless of whether he was the man or the woman. The man, Night Sorrow, was a senior king. He was not qualified to talk to the Sky Master level figure. However, Wuling Villa owed Night Sorrow a favor, and Dachiro was a Sky Master level figure. It was necessary for him to be on good terms with him. Many cultivators from the 9 Grand Floors World Group also arrived. Night Sorrow came out to fight for the stability of the 9 Grand Floors World Group, which made many people feel grateful. Misty Rain stayed in the 9 Grand Floors. The officials of the Qing Emperor's palace were in charge of receiving guests. She stayed in the 9 Grand Floors mainly to guard against emergencies. Now, the safety of the 9 Grand Floors was the top priority. The second update has arrived. Thank you for and the unsealing of yesterday. Chapter 1351. Grand. Night Sorrow's wedding was much grander than Sandalwood's wedding. It was not because the Qing Emperor was biased, but because Night Sorrow's circle was wider. The 9 regions world aside, in the world where Night Sorrow came from, he was the Realm Lord, so he had the best relationships. It was the same in the 9 Clouds World Group. He fought for the safety of the 9 Clouds World Group. Those who were sensible all remembered Night Sorrow's favor. In the Samsara world, in the position of the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Night Sorrow was almost above everyone else. The Qing Emperor had announced that Night Sorrow was in charge of everything in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. In addition to the position of His Highness, he was also the regent. This was because Night Sorrow was unwilling to take over the position of the Emperor. He was willing to be the Emperor now. The Red Emperor's kingdom originally had a grudge against Night Sorrow, but after several joint battles and the fact that the Red Emperor and others were in the wrong, the Red Emperor and others no longer cared about it. The Lee brothers of the Blackfiend Valley were not good at strategy. Now, they recognized Night Sorrow as their backer. Since they had a chance to get close to him, they naturally had to express their gratitude. 3 top forces of the black-yellow Great World came, which was incredible in the eyes of practitioners. It was a great honor for the giants to attend the wedding in person. Tang Jianfeng was there for the sake of the Qing Emperor. They were close friends, but the master of the Wu Ling Mountain and the master of the Sea King Mansion were there for the sake of the Qing Emperor and mainly because of Night Sorrow. They did not come to Sandalwood's wedding. Every time a friend or relative arrived, Yishang would go and greet them. Night Sorrow visited the VIP building where the master of the Sea King Mansion lived. Hai Ling, who was beside the master of the Sea King Mansion, was stunned. Aren't you a 7-star king? It's only been 3 years, and you're already a 7-star king? If I'm lucky, I'll be able to break through. Night Sorrow pays his respects to the Manor Lord, said Night Sorrow. Linger, don't believe his nonsense. He's not even 160 years old yet, and he's already cultivated to the Star King realm. Is he just lucky every time? The Sea King Manor's governor said as he glanced at Night Sorrow. The Sea King's Manor's master had a head of golden hair that draped over his shoulders. His eyes were bright and full of vigor as he sat there. Your lordship's words are a little too direct. Night Sorrow did not know how to respond to the Sea Monarch's words. Kid, you were still showing off your abilities 3 years ago, and now you've learned how to be tactful, the Sea King Manor's master said. It's not about being tactful. It's better to be humble in front of the seniors. Do things in a high-profile manner and behave in a low-key manner. Night Sorrow took out the heart-cleansing tea he had brought and began to brew it. Genuine 4-inch haha. I like to hear this, and it's also true. 7-star King Realm can enter the Heavenly Pavilion. You're the first person to do so since the formation of the Black-Yellow Great World. You have the right to be proud. Ling said that you don't plan to go again. Such a temperament is hard to come by. The Sea King Manor's master had said it as a joke at first, but now he was seriously sizing up Night Sorrow. I won't go again. One should know when to stop. Heaven and Earth Pavilion gave me a chance, and I'm grateful. Some opportunities should be given to future generations, Night Sorrow said. All right, with these words, the Sea King's Manor will befriend you. If you need anything, just give me a shout. I won't eat your soft jade tendon pill for nothing, the Sea King Manor's master said with a smile. All right, if anything happens to the Sea King's Manor, I, Night Sorrow, will be able to do it. I won't delay receiving the message. Night Sorrow nodded. After talking with the Sea King Manor's master for a while, Night Sorrow went to meet the others. Leakless True Body. He actually cultivated the Leakless True Body. After Night Sorrow left, the Sea King Manor's master exhaled and said, Grandpa, you mean that we can sense his cultivation, but the energy and aura in his body won't leak out at all, right? During a battle, the loss of energy is very small, which is a great advantage, Hai Ling said. That's right. It can increase one's combat strength, reduce energy consumption, and prevent evil from entering one's body. Most importantly, it's the only way to survive the trials of wind and fire. The Sea King Manor's master said something that Hai Ling didn't know. Seeing that his granddaughter didn't understand, the Sea King Manor's master explained it in detail. This guy was rumored to have a heavenly axiom artifact, and now he has the leakless true body technique. Isn't this a disaster? Hai Ling murmured in a low voice. He won't get into trouble easily now. The main thing is that his momentum has been built. With his current strength, a sovereign is no longer a match for him. Even a Sky Master would have to put in some effort to take him down in an instant. As long as he can't be taken down in an instant, someone will come to his rescue. He's married to Dechira, and his master, mistress, and senior brother are all Sky Masters. Who would want to poke a hornet's nest for no reason? Amazing. When I first met him, I felt that he wasn't ordinary. Later on, I learned that this guy is terrifyingly powerful. His combat strength is strong, his strategy is good, and he does things well, Hai Ling said. When making friends, we have to put aside the concept of benefits and benefits. We don't want to take advantage of others. He has a body of merit, and being friends with him will invisibly increase one's luck. You'll slowly realize it, the Sea King Manor's master said. Hai Ling nodded. She didn't want their friendship to change. You should also go out and visit some seniors. You'll have to travel the world in the future. One more friend means one more path, the Sea King Manor's master said. Night Sorrow felt very tired. There were many guests that he had to visit. He left in the morning and only returned to the 9 Heavens Pagoda at night. You rascal, I wanted to find you for a drink, but you didn't show up for half a day. Sandalwood and were chatting with Misty Rain in the 9 Heavens Pagoda. I can't help it. Since they're here, I have to pay them a visit. So want to drink tea and someone to drink wine. If I don't find an excuse, I don't know how long the two from the Blackfiend Valley will drag me to drink, Knight's Sorrow said. The two bears from the Blackfiend Valley. They're not good at strategy, but when they set their minds on something, they'll follow it to the end. There won't be any twists and turns, Misty Rain said with a smile. Huh, yes, it feels like they're quite direct. I've also apologized for killing Li Ying today. But judging from their attitude, I think they're willing to let bygones be bygones, Knight's Sorrow said. That's good. This time, you're completely exposed in front of everyone. Getting to know these people will only bring you benefits. Although there are some things on you that will bring you trouble, as a sky pillar, they won't stab you in the back with a smile. Now that they've expressed their goodwill, they won't turn hostile so easily, Misty Rain said. Right now, the Sima residents and Yuan Daotian haven't made any moves. As for the Heavenly Lord of Thunderfire, he can do whatever he wants. Since we've already shed all pretense of cordiality, I don't care how hostile they are, Knight's Sorrow said. Shed all pretense of cordiality? Misty Rain frowned. Yes, you want to look for the brothers from the Blackfiend Valley and made us look bad. Unfortunately, the Blackfiend Valley is now on our side. Li Tianba told me about it, but he didn't agree or reject it. My intention is to let the Blackfiend Valley drag it out and let the Heavenly Lord of Thunderfire make some mistakes in his estimation, Knight's Sorrow said. When they were drinking earlier, Li Tianba and Knight's Sorrow had talked about some things. Chapter 1352. But the two of them came to the Qing Emperor City. This will make the other party suspicious, Zhan Tan said. I don't think so. We fought the Blackfiend Valley until they asked for peace. Now that our Qing Emperor's dynasty is holding a wedding, it is reasonable for the Blackfiend Valley to come and congratulate us. Knight's Sorrow shook his head. That's right. This isn't much. The main thing is whether these two bears know how to act. If they act well, then the Thunderfire Heaven Monarch will make a mistake and lose the City Lord election, Misty Rain said. After chatting with Misty Rain and Zhan Tan for a while, Knight's Sorrow arrived at the Heaven Tiger Pass. He wanted to see if Qian Xiangwei and Qian Yu were used to it and what the situation was like. After arriving, Knight's Sorrow felt more at ease. Qian Xiangwei and Qian Yu were already cultivating the joint attack array with the team. This meant that they had already integrated into the god-slaying team. After inviting everyone to his wedding wine, Knight's Sorrow left. Captain is really impressive. He can even marry a heaven master now, Ling Long said to Nan Liyue. This is indeed impressive. I can't help but be impressed. Look at all of them. They all came out at the same time. They are so stupid, Nan Liyue said with a smile. Nan Liyue was already married to Lei Bao. Ho Jian and Ling Long's relationship was also not bad. It was just that they were still lacking in maturity. After returning to the 9-story tower, Knight's Sorrow took the teleportation array to the Dark City. He wanted to see Dechira. During this period of time, he had been investigating the spatial worlds around the Heaven Mystic World and didn't see Dechira. In the courtyard, Knight's Sorrow saw Dechira. However, there was another lady in a red dress. She was the Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch. Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance, let me introduce you. This is my future husband, Knight's Sorrow. This is my good friend, Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance. She's the wife of the Sima Manor's manor head, and also a famous big shot, Dechira introduced. Knight's Sorrow greets the Heavenly Monarch. Knight's Sorrow cupped his hands towards the Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch. Then, Knight's Sorrow sat down, and Dechira got up to make some tea. You better treat Dechira better in the future. Otherwise, I will settle the score with you, Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch said. After that, Dechira told Knight's Sorrow that the Precious Fragrance Heaven Lord already knew about the Thunderfire Heaven Lord. She didn't support the Thunderfire Heaven Lord, but her husband had already promised the Thunderfire Heaven Lord and couldn't go back on his words. After chatting for a while, the Precious Fragrance Heaven Lord left and went to the Dark Abyss VIP Tower. Knight's Sorrow and Dechira were engaged, and they definitely had something to talk about. It wasn't appropriate for her to continue. After sending off the Precious Fragrance Heaven Lord, Dachira looked at Night Sorrow. We used to know each other, but our relationship wasn't that good. We were just acquaintances, so I didn't mention this to you. Who knew that she would come? Seems like she still cherishes old friendships. The Sema Manor has someone who supports the Thunderfire Heaven Lord. Their numbers are the same as ours. We still have some plans to carry out, so we have to reduce their numbers. It can't be helped if we lose the strength of the world of reincarnation. Night Sorrow felt that he still had to kill. Since the Fengtian Manor head, who had the worst character, didn't appear, he would kill the Dark Heaven Lord first. Okay, but don't kill anyone before our wedding. Dachira looked at Night Sorrow and said, Okay, I'll listen to you. I forgot to ask Xuanji about the investigation of the General of Wind and Thunder. I don't know what his character is like. If it doesn't work, kill him. The Thunderfire Heaven Lord wants to be the Lord of Reincarnation City. I won't let him get what he wants. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow chatted with Dachira for a while and returned to the Nine Chong building. Night Sorrow received guests every day. The main reason was that there were more guests, and he couldn't leave anyone out. Some of the sovereigns of the Nine Chong World Group came, and even Sovereign Yuan Ling came. He couldn't afford to offend Night Sorrow. This was an opportunity to resolve and ease the conflict, so he could not come. Sovereign No Beginning and the Seven Rains Sovereign didn't come. Both of them were in seclusion. However, the people in charge of the two forces came. Seven Kills King of the Endless Mountain brought Hay Foam. The eldest disciple of the Seven Rains Sovereign, Piao King, also came. Their masters were in seclusion, but they had to come. This way, the difference in etiquette could be minimized. Sovereign Shun Xiao, Sovereign Purple Clouds, Sovereign Xian Tian, and Sovereign Sky Scorpio were all here. Yi Qianhua brought Shang-Xi to the Nine Chong building. No matter who it was, those who came to the Nine Chong building were giving face. Night Sorrow received all of them, regardless of whether they had any grudges in the past. Even Night Sorrow's family came out to receive Night Sorrow, because Night Sorrow was too busy. There were 7 more days until the wedding. Night Sorrow's original body had also broken through. His space-time willpower had entered the Star Monarch realm. There was no time for his cultivation to catch up. Night Sorrow left the space-time pagoda. Senior, there are only a few more days until my wedding. I have to go back. Night Sorrow bowed to the void. A happy occasion refreshes one's spirit. Your cultivation has broken through, and you have a beauty. You should be like Night Sorrow. The origin of the Samsara Palace appeared and nodded at Night Sorrow with a smile. Senior, thank you for your care. Night Sorrow will remember it. Night Sorrow bowed to the origin of the Samsara Palace and left the Samsara Palace. He took the teleportation array back to the Nine Chong building and merged with his clone. Looking at the chapter on the VV version, Junior Brother seems to have become stronger. Looking at Night Sorrow, Jean Tan said, Just today I improved again. My secondary attribute has leveled up. Night Sorrow said, Double happiness. Sure. Jean Tan nodded. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow's original body received the guests and spent time with his friends and family. His clone helped Yi complete the armor. It was a high-grade king artifact. Night Sorrow received the guests. Someone was in charge of the defense of the Qing Emperor City. Summer City, Xian Daozi, and Shangwan Hong led the Dark Guards, the Qing Emperor's Guards, and the Imperial City Guards. Anyone who caused trouble in the Qing Emperor's city would be arrested. Knowing that Night Sorrow didn't like to see deaths, those who caused trouble would be caught and thrown into the Demon Ceiling Tower. They would be locked up until they died. However, Night Sorrow didn't know about this and didn't ask. There were many Heaven Masters in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, and they were all on good terms. Anyone who caused trouble would be courting death. As for those who weren't Heaven Masters, the Qing Emperor's guards and the Imperial City Guards would deal with them directly. On this day, Night Sorrow came back from the VIP Tower and saw Bloodthirsty and Bloodthirsty in the Nine Chong Tower. The two were there to apologize to Night Sorrow. They now understood why Rowan said not to provoke Night Sorrow and why Dachira valued Night Sorrow so much. Dachira agreed to Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing's marriage proposal. After the engagement, he announced it in the Dark Abyss White Bone Palace. Commanders, you're thinking too much. You're soldiers, and so am I. How can there be right and wrong in war? Soldiers are soldiers. This is something I can do, Night Sorrow said. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Bloodthirsty felt relieved. After Night Sorrow married Dechira, they would be in trouble if anyone came looking for trouble with them. At this time, someone came to report to Night Sorrow that the Shenwu Great World and the Zhanwu dynasty had also come to congratulate him. The Qing Emperor had already received them. Mistress, this disciple's status is not equal to theirs. However, this is disciple's wedding. Do you think disciple needs to go? Night Sorrow looked at Misty Rain and asked. Fourth update. Are you all ready? Let's explode tomorrow. Chapter 1353. Well, you don't know them, so it's not appropriate for you to visit them. If you don't go, you'll be lacking in etiquette. How about this? I'll take you there. The Zhanwu dynasty and the Qing Emperor's dynasty aren't on good terms. I don't know why they're here, said Misty Rain. Misty Rain had stayed in the Shenwu Great World for some time, so she knew a lot about the Zhanwu dynasty. The Zhanwu dynasty was the most powerful force in the Shenwu Great World. Many years ago, the third emperor of the Zhanwu dynasty was defeated by the Qing Emperor during an expedition. Both sides had some disputes. Under Heavenly Lord Yufei's lead, the two of them arrived at the VIP building. At that moment, the Azure the Arch was conversing with an imperial lord of the Zhanwu dynasty. There were two other monarchs standing behind the emperor of the Zhanwu dynasty. Brother Qing, other than congratulating your disciple on his wedding, I'm here for another matter. My youngest son admires Brother Qing's princess, so I'm here to propose marriage, said the emperor of the Zhanwu dynasty, who was wearing a long robe with tiger stripes. It's up to Qing Wan herself. Her children and grandchildren have their own lives. I won't interfere with her marriage. As long as she's willing, we can talk about anything, said the Qing emperor. Brother Qing, you must be joking. Children's matters can be handled by their parents. Isn't this just a matter of a word from Brother Qing? Said an elder in a tiger-patterned robe. He was the second sovereign of the Zhanwu dynasty, Fierce Tiger, Celestial Lord. Lord of Heaven, Fierce Tiger. I'm not joking. I won't interfere with our children's marriage, said the Qing emperor. Brother Qing, are you not giving me face? Lord of Heaven, Fierce Tiger's face turned cold. So what if I'm not giving you face? If I give you face, you'll be respected. If I don't give you face, you're nothing. Why did you come to our Qing Emperor's dynasty to threaten us? Misty Rain, who had been silent all this while, couldn't stand it anymore when she brought Night Sorrow in. Qing Shangjuan, this is also your intention. Heaven Monarch Fierce Tiger stood up. All this time, I, Qing Shangjuan, have always prioritized peace. If I could avoid falling out with you, I would. But since you came to my house and threatened me, then you can't blame anyone. See the guest out. Qing Emperor stood up. He was already infuriated. Firstly, the other party didn't respect him. Secondly, the Fierce Tiger Lord of Heaven didn't reply when Misty Rain spoke, which was also a sign of contempt. Very well. I came to ask for your hand in marriage, but you didn't give me any face. Just wait and see. Heaven Monarch Fierce Tiger flicked his sleeves and left the VIP tower. Both parties had completely fallen out with each other. Is he stupid, or does he not know the way? Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. However, he controlled the reincarnation city. This matter was too big. The Thunder Fire Lord of Heaven had the City Lord seal. Everyone in the reincarnation city had to be wary of him. Then, Night Sorrow looked at Jun Xuanji. Xuanji, have you investigated the Thunder Fire Lord? What's his character like? He doesn't have any principles or standards. It's like a power struggle. He has massacred cities many times. He doesn't leave a single person alive. Women and children are all killed, Jun Xuanji said. If he doesn't have any principles, then we don't have any either. Let's not talk about it for now. Let's deal with my wedding first. Then, we'll see how to deal with it. Since we're living in this world, we have to live a peaceful life. At the very least, we have to let the people around us live without threats. We have to let Wuyo live without worries, Night Sorrow said. Misty Rain nodded. He liked Night Sorrow's philosophy. He didn't seek to dominate the world, but he wouldn't allow others to step into his territory. Night Sorrow then chatted with his wife and Xueshi. They came over as well. Night Sorrow didn't want his wife to feel left out. No matter how many years they had been together, he couldn't let his love and care for her be reduced. He knew that it wasn't easy for his wife to worry about him when he was away. Night Sorrow, you know us, and we know you. Don't feel pressured. We know what's going on. We know that it wasn't your intention. Actually, it's pretty good. Aluo gets along well with us, and our family is harmonious. Isn't this what we want? Sikong Chuyu said. After being married for so many years, Sikong Chuyu and the others knew what Night Sorrow was thinking and worried about. It's been hard on you guys, Night Sorrow said. 13, this isn't you. You're high-spirited and never admit defeat. Actually, it's your ability to marry a sky pillar. Moreover, we all like Aluo, Yang Lei said with a smile. Understand, Night Sorrow nodded. Night Sorrow emphasized to his family that they couldn't leave the 9 grand floors. Now that he had offended many people, danger was everywhere. In the past, he had opponents. Now, there was the Zhongwu dynasty. Chapter 1354. A man may not hurt a tiger, but the tiger will hurt a man. The Qing Emperor's dynasty did not want to fight, but Night Sorrow did not know the attitude of the Zhongwu dynasty. If Misty Rain said so, then things would be very troublesome. However, Night Sorrow was not very worried, because now the eastern district of the world of Samsara was almost like an iron plate. No matter who came, they would not be afraid. A few days passed in the blink of an eye, and it was the day of the wedding. First, it was the wedding ceremony. The members of the God-slaying team were all in red robes, and so were all Night Sorrow's senior brothers, including Sandalwood. Night Sorrow led the way, and the group of people carried the sedan to the Hall of Bones. After entering the Hall of Bones, Night Sorrow bowed to the leaders of the Dark Abyss one by one, and then carried Dachira, who was wearing a festive dress, onto the sedan. Then the group of people went to the teleportation formation and returned to the Qing Emperor's city, and then to the Qing Emperor's palace. Night Sorrow's wedding was more troublesome than Sandalwood's, because Night Sorrow's family members were all there. They worshipped heaven and earth, and paid respects to their parents and master. Because Dachira was a big shot, respected by everyone, and had a perfect will, no matter if it was the good Qing Emperor or Night Sorrow's parents, no one asked Dachira to really bow to them. After the ceremony, Mandela and Yishang accompanied the guests to drink and chat. They were busy all the way until nighttime. Night Sorrow and his family returned to the Jiuchong building. Night Sorrow and Dachira also arrived at the bridal chamber. Night Sorrow, why am I a little nervous? Looking at Night Sorrow, Dachira's face was full of red. Huh, it's nothing. Don't be nervous. The night is good today. Let's look at the moon and drink tea, Night Sorrow said. Okay. Dachira's voice was so low that it could not be heard. Night Sorrow took Dachira's hand to the roof of the attic. This was a newly tidied attic. It would be the bridal chamber of Night Sorrow and Dachira. The two of them took out the tea set on the observation deck at the top of the attic and made tea. They chatted casually, talking about the present and the future. Yishang, thank you for staying here with me on our wedding night. Let's go and rest. Mandela said. Okay. Night Sorrow, Dachira. After entering the bedroom, Mandela extinguished the red candle and leaned into Yishang's embrace. Dachira, Lu Dachira, love the two of them were like fish and water, a pair of lovebirds sharing necks. The bright moon shrouds the light mist. Tonight the beauty coils around the neck to sleep. Early in the morning, Night Sorrow woke up and looked at the beautiful person beside him. Dachira's sleeping posture was very beautiful, but when Night Sorrow looked at her, she woke up. You're so bad. You don't know how to take care of people at all. Dachira pulled the quilt and blushed. It's happening. You'll be laughed at if you get up too late. Night Sorrow sat up and put on his robe. He then brought Dachira a silk skirt. Dechira nodded. She was very satisfied because this was what she had been thinking and longing for in the past. After the two of them finished tidying up, they went to the main hall of the 9 grand floors. It was necessary to greet the family. Aluo, we don't have that many formalities in our family. We'll be a family in the future. Yuqing pulled Dechira to sit beside her. Everyone chatted for a while before breakfast. The whole family was happy and harmonious. Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan were also very respectful towards this concubine. Dechira told Night Sorrow that her original body would be living in Sky City, while her avatar would be dealing with matters in the Dark Abyss. Aluo, I can't. After spending some time with you and my family, I still need to go into seclusion to cultivate. I still have a lot of room for improvement, Night Sorrow said apologetically. Go ahead and cultivate. I'll stay in Sky City. I'll do whatever I can. Don't worry, Dechira said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. With Dechira in the 9 domains world, he felt more at ease. The wedding was over, but Night Sorrow did not leave immediately. There were still many guests that he had to entertain. After being busy for 6 or 7 days, the wedding finally came to an end. Night Sorrow and his family also returned to Sky City. After being busy for so long, Night Sorrow also needed a rest. Forever Free BC small p, say after resting in Sky City for a month, Night Sorrow decided to move. His original body would continue to cultivate while his avatar would search for the other part of the space-time treasure pagoda. Originally, it would be difficult for Night Sorrow to continue searching. However, his space-time willpower had leveled up. Although his energy cultivation was slightly weaker, his willpower had increased by 1 level, and his strength had increased by a lot. After greeting his parents and family, Night Sorrow's original body went to Reincarnation Palace, while his avatar continued to search in the mysterious heaven world. Dechira's cultivation had already reached a limit. Unless there was enlightenment in the realm, there was no way to increase her battle strength. She was in Sky City to guide everyone's cultivation and dispel their confusion. She also mobilized a group of blood-robe guards to guard 7 Night City. Dechira also told the Divine Night Sovereign that the 9 Firmament Worlds teleportation array could be opened and restored to normal operation. This arrangement came from her confidence. She was not afraid of any Sky Master's provocation. As long as someone dared to come, she would dare to kill. 7 Night City also had a city protecting array that could defend against the Sovereign. Even if a Sky Master came, he would not be able to break it in a short period of time. Hence, she had enough time to react and go out to kill. Night Sorrow's original body once again began to speed up his cultivation and comprehension of his willpower. His avatar began to investigate the surrounding worlds of the mysterious heaven world. The days passed in this long investigation. Sometimes, Night Sorrow would go home to take a look. Sometimes he would go to the 9 Chong building to take a look. After a year, Night Sorrow's bloodline talent and the power of desolates in his body had also reached the level of a Sky Master. Night Sorrow's original body used resources and the Ice Dragon's blood essence to speed up his cultivation for 20 years. If it was other people who lacked resources or had low levels of resources, they would not be able to keep up with their cultivation in 100 years or even a few hundred years. After a year of investigation, Night Sorrow had almost finished investigating the surrounding worlds of the mysterious heaven world. There were only 2 worlds left. Night Sorrow felt that he would finish investigating them in a short period of time. If there were no results, it meant that he did not have enough opportunities. He could only think of another way or wait for another opportunity. Night Sorrow stopped his investigation. He felt that what he needed to do now was to get rid of the dark underworld Heaven Lord and the General of Wind and Thunder. This way, he could proceed with the City Lord election in advance. Jun Xuanji told Night Sorrow that the Thunder Fire Heaven Lord was very active now. He even said that he was suppressing the powers of the Eastern District of the World of Reincarnation. It was not just the Eastern District of the World of Reincarnation. The Black Fiend Valley was being suppressed even more. The Thunder Fire Heaven Lord was forcing the Black Fiend Valley to submit and forced the Black Fiend Valley to stand on his side. Night Sorrow first went to the Black Fiend Valley and comforted the Lee brothers. Then he gathered the few big shots of the Eastern District of the World of Reincarnation. The second chapter has arrived. Thank you for unlocking yesterday's chapter. Thank you for your support, old brother. Chapter 1355. Latest chapter? In the section, now that the Heavenly Lord of Thunderfire is jumping around, we can't let him do as he pleases. We have to act quickly. Now that we have shed all pretense of cordiality, he will use his position as the city lord to attack our forces with special privileges and abilities. Therefore, I don't intend to give him the chance, said Night Sorrow. Then what do you think? This old man is shameless. His subordinates sealed up our elixir store and other businesses. He even left a message saying that we didn't follow the rules and that we should look for him if we want to settle it. Li Tianba's face was filled with anger. He is trying to rope in a group and attack another group. Since everyone has a tacit understanding, let's start the battle. Let's split our Heaven Masters into two groups. One group will kill the Dark Lord of Heaven, and the other will kill the General of Wind and Thunder. When we are ready, we will attack at the same time. We won't give them a chance to send a message, escape, or react, said Night Sorrow. Then let's split into groups and target them according to their situation. My master won't attack for the time being. The remaining 6 Heaven Masters will split into 2 groups and kill 2 of them, said Night Sorrow. The Dark Lord of Heaven is good at speed, while the General of Wind and Thunder is good at head-on combat, said Dechira. I will deal with the General of Wind and Thunder, said Sandan. He was good at head-on combat. Back when he had just advanced, he didn't use the soul cultivation liquid, Jade, Tendon Elixir, or cultivate the leakless true body. Yet, he could still defeat the Heaven Master level puppet of the Celestial Sect. I will deal with the Dark Lord of Heaven. Who will cooperate with me? Don't give him a chance to escape, said Dechira. Then let's split like this. Me, Sky Tiger Valley Master, and Lord Ruler will kill the Dark Lord of Heaven. Sandan, Sky Tyrant Valley Master, and Red Emperor will kill the General of Wind and Thunder, said Misty Rain. That's for the best. Back then, that bastard bullied me because of his speed. This time I will kill him. The enmity between Li Tianhu and the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch was huge. Originally, their strength was about the same, but the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch was an expert in assassination. Therefore, Li Tianhu was constantly tortured by him. Then it's settled. We've confirmed that the Dark Heaven Monarch is in 1,000 mountains to the north of the Samsara City. Both groups will have spies from the Furious Kylan army. My doppelganger and original body will follow them separately. This way, we can exchange information with each other. Once we're sure, we'll take them down at the same time. Night Sorrow made his decision. There's no need for spies. I'll follow. This matter is of great importance. We can't afford to make any mistakes, Jun Xuanji, who had been listening, said. All right, then let's move out. Pay attention to the main body and the doppelganger. Don't let them escape, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow was in Dechira's group because the Dark Heaven Monarch was the most cunning one. He had been an assassin for many years and had never failed. The group moved out in the dark of the night. Night Sorrow's group did not arrive at the Samsara City. That would alert the Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch. After teleporting to a small city near the Samsara City, the group flew towards the 1,000 mountains to the north of the Samsara City. The spies of the Qing Emperor's dynasty had detected the Dark Heaven Monarch's appearance in the 1,000 mountains many times. They were certain that the Dark Heaven Monarch was in the 1,000 mountains. After arriving at the 1,000 mountains, the group concealed their aura and began to investigate slowly. Commander, Lord Jantan has confirmed that the Thunder Generals are in the Thunder Cliff. Both the main body and his doppelganger are there. His main body is cultivating behind the Thunder Cliff, while his doppelganger is having a meeting with the disciples in the main hall of the sect, Jun Xuanji said. All right, tell my senior brother and the others to wait. We'll talk when we get the results, Night Sorrow said. The main body and doppelganger of the Dark Heaven Monarch are not in the same place. This give him a chance to jump around, Misty Rain said. No. In order to pursue combat strength, the main body and doppelganger are always together. Li Tianhu had some understanding of the Dark Heaven Monarch. That's for the best. This rule is very helpless. If both the main body and doppelganger are present, they will be counted as a quota. If both the main body and doppelganger are present, they will also be counted as a quota. Therefore, we have to kill him completely, Knight's Sorrow said. This is mainly based on strength. However, one soul can only be counted as a quota, Misty Rain said. The Thousand Mountains range was huge. Even if a Heaven Master wanted to investigate, it would take a long time. However, everyone was very calm. This battle could change the situation. On the sixth day, Dachira gestured for everyone to stop. It's just ahead. The Dark Heaven Monarch is resting there. Manager Meng from the auction house is also there. Now that we found him, it's easy. I'll fight head-on. Misty Rain will take care of the formation. Sky Tiger Valley Master will take action when the opportunity arises. In short, we can't let him escape, Dachira said. Okay, I'll hold back one the main body or doppelganger. Lord Ruler, use all your strength to kill one first. Then, we'll kill both together. Misty Rain, you don't have to do anything. Just watch and don't let him escape, Li Tianhu said. After that, Dachira increased the size of his protective shield, enveloping everyone within. Not a single bit of aura leaked out. Lord Ruler, this cultivation technique is powerful. Not a single bit of energy is leaked out. The Dark Heaven Monarch won't be able to discover us. Li Tianhu was a little excited. When they were 1,000 miles away, Dachira stopped in his tracks. Xuanji, tell them to take action in 10 minutes. Jun Xuanji nodded. Following that, Sandalwood's doppelganger conveyed the message. The few of them waited for the time to take action. When they felt that it was about time, Dachira nodded at them. He released his protective shield and flew rapidly towards the Dark Heaven Monarch's lair. Li Tianhu and Misty Rain followed closely behind. Night Sorrow's energy enveloped Li Tianhu and flew forward rapidly. Night Sorrow's speed was extremely fast. He was slightly faster than Li Tianhu. When Night Sorrow arrived with Jun Xuanji, the killing had already begun. Dachira's main body and doppelganger appeared. They were holding hollow knives and were slashing towards the Dark Heaven Monarch, who was constantly dodging. Are you guys trying to kill all of us? The Dark Heaven Monarch understood what was going on. He knew that his relationship with the Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch had been exposed. The Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch was suppressing the eastern region of the world of reincarnation. Now, the forces in the eastern region of the world of reincarnation wanted to take action against him. Knowing that the situation was bad, the Dark Heaven Monarch's body swayed. 7 shadows flashed and charged in all directions. Among the 7 shadows, 6 were fake. 1 was the main body. The one fighting Dachira was the doppelganger. Li Tianhu roared. His broad-bladed sword swept across and destroyed 4 shadows. However, 3 of them were still escaping. Misty Rain slashed out and destroyed 2 of them. However, 1 of them was still escaping. That was the main body. Night Sorrow waved his hand and threw out an array disc. It was an activated confinement-killing array disc. Following that, he used the Great Emperor Samsara Slash towards the Dark Heaven Monarch's main body. Night Sorrow was the closest to the Dark Heaven Monarch's main body. The Dark Heaven Monarch was about to break the array disc and escape. Night Sorrow was the only one who had a chance to stop him. When Night Sorrow's Sky Splitter arrived in front of the Dark Heaven Monarch, the Dark Heaven Monarch had already broken the array disc. However, Night Sorrow's Sky Splitter was waiting for him on his escape route. Chapter 1356. Dying. The Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch waved his hand and slashed at Night Sorrow. Bang! With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow was pushed back 70 feet, but the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch was pushed back 10 feet before he could stabilize himself. But at this moment, Li Tianhu had already rushed over and attacked the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch with his saber. It was his original body and clone attacking the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch together. At the same time, there was a scream from the other side. The dark underworld heaven monarch couldn't withstand Dachira's attack, and his clone was killed. The dark underworld heaven monarch wasn't Dachira's opponent in a one-on-one battle. Now that Dachira's original body and clone were attacking his clone together, how could he withstand it? Dachira's original body and clone executed the great death destruction slash at the same time and cut him into two pieces. Mandela, you be *TCH. Don't give me a chance. I will make you beg for death. Heaven Monarch of the Dark Underworld was infuriated when his doppelganger was killed and his original body was beaten up by Li Tianhu. You want me to beg for death, but you want me to beg for life. You don't have a chance. Die. Dachira took advantage of the gap in Li Tianhu's attack and sliced off the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch's right arm that was holding the saber. Then his original body and clone surrounded the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch and attacked continuously. In a moment, more than a dozen saber lights entered the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch's body and exploded with a loud explosion. At this moment, a nascent soul appeared and flew out. The nascent soul was the soul. When a saint entered the Saint King realm and returned to his original state, the soul pearl would evolve into a nascent soul. If the nascent soul ran away, it could take over someone else's body and reincarnate. Trap kill. Yishan swung his hand and threw out an array disc. Then, he used the spatial revolving dragon kill to break through the gaps in the array formation. The spatial revolving dragon kill's energy directly shattered the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch's nascent soul. Night Sorrow already had the strength that surpassed the Monarch realm. It wasn't difficult to kill the Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch's nascent soul. You called me *TCH? You don't understand how noble I am. Dachira took the storage ring from Dark Heaven Monarch and threw it to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow opened it as soon as he checked. This proved that the Dark Heaven Monarch had been completely killed and had disappeared from the world. The Tempest General's true body has been destroyed. Now, Lady Sandalwood and the Heaven Tyrant Valley Master have gone to help the Red Emperor kill the Tempest General's clone. Jun Xuanji reported the situation at the Thunder Cliff to Night Sorrow. Very well. If we kill the General of Wind and Thunder, then the Thunder Fire Heaven Lord will be alone. He, together with the Fun Tian Tower Lord, Residence Master Sima, and the two Heaven Master level puppets of the Celestial Sect, only have 5 seats. They won't be able to compete with us, said Dachira. Let's go back and wait for news. Night Sorrow said, no matter what the situation at the Thunder Cliff was, there was nothing they could do to help. They just had to go back and wait. Killing the Dark Heaven Monarch was already a great harvest. It could be said that they had severely injured the Thunder Fire Heaven Lord. After all, the Dark Heaven Lord was his greatest assistant. Night Sorrow and the other 4 returned to the Ninechong Pavilion and waited for news. It's done. The General of Wind and Thunder storage ring is an ownerless item. He has been completely killed by Lady Sandalwood. He is not on the same level as Lady Sandalwood. Jun Xuanji reported to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow waved his arm. The situation was stabilized. The Qing Emperor's empire had 7 Heaven Masters, while the Thunder Fire Heaven Lord only had 5. Aluo, do you think the Precious Fragrance Heaven Lord will be influenced by her husband and support the Thunder Fire Heaven Lord? Night Sorrow asked. He didn't understand the Precious Fragrance Heaven Lord and didn't know what kind of person she was. A Heaven Master wouldn't go back on his words. She shouldn't do that, Dachira said. It's still an unstable factor. Another thing is Yuan Daotian. If Yuan Daotian doesn't come out to cause trouble, we will win for sure, Misty Rain said. Yishang shook his head. He felt that he should wait and see what the weakened Heaven Monarch of Thunderfire would do next. Now that he had the upper hand, Yishang was not afraid. He could ask the origin of the Samsara Palace to elect the city lord in advance, or he could keep it to himself until he had absolute confidence. An hour later, Sandalwood and the others returned and successfully killed the General of Wind and Thunder. Junior brother, everything went well, Sandalwood said. Thank you, senior brother. Thank you, everyone. We can't move anymore. We can't kill our way into Samsara City, so it's unrealistic to kill Fentian Tower Master. Besides, Chief Sima is a decent person. He helped the Thunder Fire Heaven Lord because he owed him a favor. We can't kill him just because we need him. Night Sorrow felt that they should wait and see. That's right. We have to follow our principles. Otherwise, we are no different from the Thunder Fire Heaven Lord. Red Emperor nodded. Look at the original chapter. Our spies are doing their best to find out what the Heavenly Monarch of Thunderfire will do. Either he still has a trump card and is unwilling to give it up, or he was knocked down in an instant, Yishang said. He wanted to find some clues based on the Heavenly Monarch of Thunderfire's actions. No one present had any objections because Night Sorrow's decision was right. Besides, this is a special time. If we can kill, so can the others. Don't forget that there's still Ling Tian from the Celestial Sect. If we can take them down one by one, they might be able to do the same. Leave the matters of each faction to others, or send your avatars back to take care of them. Your main bodies will stay together and drink tea and wine. Also, you guys should discuss and choose a city lord in advance. Who should we choose? After Yishan explained his plan, he threw out another big problem. Blackfiend Valley can't do this. We don't have this idea and we won't get involved, Li Tianba said. Although he wasn't good at strategizing, he could see some things clearly. He and Li Tianhu were not talented in this field. Besides, the Blackfiend Valley had just joined the alliance. The position of the city lord of Samsara City would not be taken by someone from the Blackfiend Valley. I don't have any objections. Whoever is suitable can do it, Dechira said. The Qing Emperor's dynasty is the strongest now. The alliance is also driven by the Qing Emperor's dynasty. You guys can make the arrangements. Red Emperor said. He knew very well that the alliance was led by the Qing Emperor's dynasty. The most suitable candidate for the city lord of Samsara City was from the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Or it could be Night Sorrow's wife, Dechira. No, it shouldn't be him. Even he couldn't subdue the two brothers from the Blackfiend Valley. Night Sorrow, you can do this. The Red Emperor and the two Valley Masters have no objections. The ruler is your wife. Your brother won't have any objections either, Misty Rain said. No, I won't do this. I'm just a junior. I don't have the qualifications to be the city lord. My master, the Qing Emperor, is the most suitable candidate. My master cultivates the way of the gentleman and doesn't do things that go against his conscience. Everyone knows this. It's good for the stability of the alliance. After all, the most important thing in the alliance is trust, Night Sorrow said. But I think you'll have the confidence to command the battle, Li Tianba said. Don't worry, Valley Master Li. I'm not indifferent. I'll fulfill my promise. The forces of the alliance will have equal status in Samsara City in the future, Night Sorrow said. He knew what Li Tianba was worried about. It's hard to say if your master will be willing to do it, Misty Rain said. Chapter 1357. I think it's suitable. The Azure Supreme, the Arch, is slightly injured, but it's no longer a big problem. We all believe in him. Most importantly, Yishang won't do it. Apart from the two of them, no one else is suitable, the Crimson Emperor said. Okay, I'll talk to him about it. Misty Rain nodded. The matter was settled. Then, under Night Sorrow's arrangement, everyone rested in the Nine Heavens Pavilion. Night Sorrow and Misty Rain went to the Azure Sky Pavilion to meet Qing Emperor. Misty Rain told him about Night Sorrow's idea. Sigh, other people are racking their brains to get the position, but we're not willing to do it. My body isn't suitable. Night Sorrow doesn't need this position to strengthen his position. Sandalwood isn't suitable either. Qing Emperor said with a bitter smile. Yes, Night Sorrow is a realm lord himself. He doesn't need to develop his power in the Samsara City. Besides, he's not a sky master, and his cultivation is weaker. If someone else becomes the city lord, it's not good for the stability of the alliance. Why don't you take the position? Night Sorrow, and we can do the rest. Misty Rain said, Master, we don't want to bully others, but we don't want to be bullied. Not only do we want to stand at the peak of strength, we also want to stand on righteousness. Night Sorrow said, after thinking for a while. Okay, let me know if there's anything you need. Qing Emperor nodded. He didn't care about the position of the city lord of the Samsara City, but he was the only suitable one in the current situation. Night Sorrow and Yu Fiu returned to the Nine Heavens Pavilion and told everyone that Qing Emperor had agreed. Then let's wait for the news and see what the Thunderfire Heaven Lord does. Also, I want to ask, how many Sky Masters are there in the Yuan Dao Heaven? Night Sorrow asked after sitting down in the main hall of the Nine Heavens Pavilion. One person, but a very strong one, the Crimson Emperor said. Even if we include this one, there will only be 6 heavenly lords of lightning fire. Even if we include the Sima residents, they will at most be on par with us, Night Sorrow said after pondering for a moment. That's right. It can be said that victory is already within our grasp. Sima Manor's Lord of Precious Fragrance will not easily side with the Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch. She knows what kind of person the Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch is. In addition, she has already said that she will not interfere or support him. If she changes her mind, then she will be lacking in her humanity and state of mind, said Dechira. One more thing. Did the Celestial Sect only have 4 Heaven Master level puppets? Can you be sure that there are only 2 left? This is also a variable, Night Sorrow said. That's simple, Dechira said. I have a damaged Heaven Master level puppet. Bring it to the Divination Master for divination, and he will be able to determine how many puppets there are in the world of Samsara. If there are 4, then 2 of them are damaged, and the Celestial Sect will only have 2 left. Then we'll have to trouble the Divination Master. Night Sorrow really did not want to trouble Xian Daozi for this matter, but there was no other way. Misty Rain knew that Night Sorrow did not want to speak, so she sent someone to invite Xian Daozi over. After Xian Daozi arrived, Night Sorrow explained the current situation and needs. At the same time, Dechira took out the Heaven Master level puppet and handed it to Xian Daozi. Okay, we'll have the results in 3 days. Xian Daozi nodded and left 9-story tower to do his divination. While 9-story tower was making arrangements, the Thunderfire Heaven Monarch was furious. Night Sorrow, Dechira, you 2 bastards ruined my plans. Sandalwood, you should have died long ago. Thunderfire Heaven Monarch's face was livid as he kept cursing. Dark Underworld Heaven Monarch and General of Wind and Thunder were his main forces. Now that the Dark Heaven Monarch had been killed, he had lost a sharp saber, a saber that could help him kill his enemies at any time and do things that were inconvenient for him. With General of Wind and Thunder killed, Thundercliff was no longer a top force. They lost some power, and Thunderfire Heaven Monarch was truly alone. Thunderfire Heaven Monarch went to Sima Mansion once to talk with Mansion Master Sima, hoping that Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch would support him. However, Sima Mansion Master shook his head and refused. He did not want to interfere with his wife's matters. His wife was also in seclusion. In fact, Sima Mansion Master Sima Tianqing already knew some things about Thunderfire Heaven Monarch. He agreed, but he could not let his wife get involved. After Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch came back from Night Sorrow and Dechira's wedding, she told her husband about it. After knowing the whole story, Sima Tianqing could only smile bitterly. He owed Thunderfire Heaven Monarch a favor. Even if he did not, he had to do it to the end. Previous chapter Sima Tianqing accepted his decision. How could he let his cowardly wife do something against her will? It was absolutely impossible. Without any support, Thunderfire Heaven Monarch could only leave. He felt that there was not much hope. The East Alliance of the world of reincarnation had too many Sky Masters. He had already confirmed that the Black Fiend Valley had gone to Night Sorrow's side. No matter who became the city lord in the Qing Emperor's Dynasty Alliance, he would have the support of 7 Sky Masters. However, he only had 5, and 2 of them were puppets. After Thunderfire Heaven Monarch left, Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch appeared beside her husband. This guy's desire for fame and fortune is very strong. He has reached the point where he will do anything. Your support alone is not enough. You still have the cheek to ask for it. It's enough to know his character. After I help him this time, I will settle the karma. In the future, his matters will have nothing to do with our Sima Mansion. Sima Tianqing said, in the past, he respected Thunderfire Heaven Monarch because he was righteous and had a good reputation. Now that Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch was defeated, he had nothing to say. Night Sorrow was fully aware of Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch's actions. The disappointed Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch could not hide it from spies. It seems that you did not get the result you wanted, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Sima Mansion's style of doing things is very righteous. Sima Tianqing does things with principles. Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch went back and said these things. He will not let his wife get involved in this mess. Dechira said, wait for Uncle Xian Daozi's results. After confirming how many puppets there are, we can make a move. Night Sorrow said. Red Emperor and the others nodded. Night Sorrow's arrangement was very good. When it was launched, it would be a fatal blow. Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch would not be able to resist. Then, everyone waited for news from Xian Daozi. As long as it was confirmed that there were 2 puppets, then the matter would be settled. Even if Yuan Daotian helped Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch, it was useless. In terms of numbers, it was not as good as the Eastern District of the World of Reincarnation. 3 days later, Xian Daozi came. His condition was not very good. It was the aftereffect of the divination. Sister-in-law, Your Highness, the results are out. There are 4 of these things in the world of reincarnation. No matter if they are complete or damaged, there are 4 of them in the world of reincarnation. Xian Daozi reported and handed the puppets to Dechira. Last time, 1 was destroyed. There is 1 here, which means that Sky Peak Sect has 2. Junior brother, you can make a move, Sandalwood said. Chapter 1358. Well, let's do it. Drive him down and don't give him any chance to make trouble. Night Sorrow nodded. Look at Section B of Chapter 1 of the original version. Night Sorrow's original body, which was cultivating in the Samsara Palace, came out of the pagoda of time and space and bowed to the void. You just came back, right? You still want to go out? The old man incarnated by the origin of the Samsara Palace appeared in front of Night Sorrow. Senior, I request to advance the election of the city lord of the Samsara city. Night Sorrow bowed and said, so fast, that is to say, you are ready. You can complete the deployment in such a short time. I didn't misjudge you. Then let's hold the meeting in advance. The seal in Lei Hua's hands is invalid. The origin of Samsara Palace nodded. At this time, all the giants in the world of Samsara received the news that the next city lord would be elected 7 days later before the Samsara Palace. This was a notice from the origin of the world. Almost everyone in the world of Samsara knew about it. The Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire was dumbfounded when he heard the notice. He didn't understand what was going on. What was going on? In the past, the election of the city lord was held once every 10 million years. Why was it advanced this time? Although it was only 1,000,000 years earlier, it was advanced. This was a change in the rules. The Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire knew he could only accept it and resign himself to fate. In the Sima Mansion, Sima Tianqing and his wife were drinking tea and talking when they received the notice. The rules have changed? The Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire could be the origin of the Samsara Palace, but he would never and would not want to advance it, because if it was advanced, he would lose. It seemed that the Qing Emperor's dynasty was really powerful and could influence the origin of the world of Samsara. But this pattern and this rule have existed for countless years. In other words, it was not the original people who changed it. It was the new people who affected the pattern. Sima Tianqing thought and came to a conclusion. I met the husband of Dechira. He was a high-spirited young man with a body of karmic virtue. Such a person would attract the attention of the world of reincarnation and is currently being purged. The precious fragrance Heavenly Lord spoke. Regarding this matter, we need to explain to the Qing Emperor's imperial court. Our Sima residence is not unable to differentiate between right and wrong. This time, we supported the heavenly monarch of Thunderfire because we owe him a favor. Secondly, we're not clear about these matters. We're not afraid of explaining. We still need to differentiate between good and evil. Sima Tian, Cheng told his wife, electing the city lord in advance before its time. Things are going to change at this time. I want to go out and take a look. On an island in the endless sea, a middle-aged man stood with his hands behind his back. This was the Yuan Dao sky, and this man was the Yuan Dao heavenly monarch. The 9-layered pagoda was filled with jubilation. Night Sorrow smiled as well. His true body continued to enter the space-time pagoda to cultivate. 7 days from now, we'll decide who's in charge of Samsara City. Now that the City Lord seal is no longer effective, we should go to Samsara City now. We don't want him to go crazy and cause us to suffer losses, said Yishan. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Misty Rain went to call for the Qing Emperor. The group rushed to Samsara City and stayed in Dechira's courtyard in the Samsara Palace. All right, isn't the Burning Sky Tower Master in the Samsara City Lord Manor? Now that the City Lord seal of the Heavenly Monarch of Thunderfire is no longer effective, should we go in and kill him? Night Sorrow asked. No. During the election of the City Lord of Samsara City, the Sky Pillars are not allowed to fight. Anyone who fights will not have a good ending. This is the rule of the world of Samsara. Dechira said. Then we still have to keep an eye on him. After the election of the City Lord is over, we will go after him and kill him. Since he wants to fight with us, we will fight to the end. Night Sorrow said. He did not like to procrastinate and did not want the existence of the Burning Sky Tower Master to become a threat. Leave it to me. My avatar will keep an eye on him. Dechira said. Count me in as well. Crimson Emperor nodded. The Lee brothers of the Blackfiend Valley also nodded. An opponent who had become a Sky Pillar was a threat if he was alive. If his original body was killed, this would be an irreconcilable hatred. Then, everyone waited for the meeting of the Sky Pillars in front of the Samsara Palace 7 days later. Thunderfire was in a bad mood. He had received news that 7 Sky Pillars had come from the Qing Emperor's Dynasty Alliance. This meant that he would lose for sure. In Samsara City, the Heavenly Monarch of Thunderfire had no chance to make a move, suppress, or collect assets because the Qing Emperor's Dynasty Alliance would not tolerate him. On the 2nd day after Night Sorrow and the others arrived, someone came to visit them. It was the Heavenly Monarch of Precious Fragrance and Residence, Master Sima. They were received by Dechira because this was Dechira's residence. Night Sorrow did not go forward and avoided them. They were Sky Pillars, so the visit had nothing to do with him. Night Sorrow went to the side of the courtyard and talked to Jun Xuanji. He asked about the current situation of the Qing Emperor's Dynasty Intelligence System. At this moment, a group of Sky Pillars was talking in the courtyard hall. Sima Tianqing also explained and looked at the situation. Although we understand the situation, there is nothing we can do. People have to do and do not. We have to pay back what we owe. Brothers, I'm sorry. We understand this, and it will not affect the following situation. Dechira said. She understood that Sima Tianqing came to explain because he did not want to cause any conflicts and misunderstandings. Where's your husband? Why did he come out? Heavenly Monarch of Precious Fragrance asked with a smile. He felt that it was inconvenient for him to talk with us. Dechira said. Because of cultivation? Because it's not a Sky Master, you're overthinking it. There are a lot of Sky Masters now. You can grab a handful of them in this house. However, a high-level Sovereign King over 100 years old is too rare. A virtuous body is even rarer. There won't be one for a very long time. From the analysis of the phrase, the rarer something is, the more difficult it is to achieve a virtuous body. Quickly invite him out. You didn't even come to our wedding. You don't have any sincerity to see him now. Someone, go and call him. Dechira shouted to the servant. After hearing the servant's explanation, Yishang understood and went to the main hall. After reaching the hall, Night Sorrow cupped his hands to Sima Tianqing and Heavenly Monarch of Precious Fragrance. Night Sorrow greets the 2 Heavenly Monarchs. Night Sorrow could not call himself a junior because he was Dechira's husband. Very good, Dechira, you have picked up a treasure. Heavenly Monarch of Precious Fragrance said with a smile. Yishang and Manor Head Sima chatted casually for a while. After inviting Night Sorrow to Residence Master Sima as a guest, Sima Tianqing and his wife left. After leaving Dechira's residence, Sima Tianqing shook his head. This young man is amazing. His cultivation is not enough, but his aura and aura have already formed. This world of reincarnation is his world. He is still far from it. Everyone below the sky pillar is an ant. It won't be too late to say this after he becomes a sky pillar. Heavenly monarch of precious fragrance said, some gifted demonic beasts have no bottlenecks. Wind and thunder can cultivate all the way to sky pillar without any bottlenecks. The three emperors of Zhongwu dynasty are the same. A virtuous body will be aided by luck. If one's talent is high and with continuous effort, they will have great achievements. Sima Tianqing said. Chapter 1359. Perhaps you are a good judge of character. Back then, everyone said that invincible Commander Sandalwood was crippled. You told me that if Sandalwood didn't die, she would definitely be able to overcome this obstacle and her achievements would be limitless. Sandalwood is the only cultivator who became a heavenly lord in the past thousands of years. Cultivators were king realm. 9-star kings at the peak of the realm were called sovereigns. Those who were beyond the sovereign realm and had yet to enter the 9th rank were called heavenly lords. Thunder Fire Heaven Lord knew all of this, but he was powerless to change it. Sima Tianqing had promised to support him, but he had his own circle of friends and wasn't his subordinate. Thunder Fire Heaven Lord knew he had lost, and it was a crushing defeat. 7 days was a difficult time for everyone, because the day the new city lord of Samsara City would be waiting. Night Sorrow was certain that Sima residents would only have Sima Tianqing support. Precious Fragrance Heaven Lord wouldn't make a move. As for Yuan Dao Heaven's Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord, his appearance wouldn't affect the outcome. 7 days later, the group arrived at Samsara Palace. Many people had arrived. Although Thunder Fire Heaven Lord was annoyed, he still arranged for a row of chairs. As long as the Heavenly Lord arrived, they would all have a seat. Night Sorrow didn't have a seat because it was against the rules. There were many people here. 7 Heavenly Lords from the Qing Emperor's Dynasty Alliance came, and 2 from the Sima residence came. Thunder Fire Heaven Lord and Fun Tian Tower Master came from the Celestial Sect. Both of them were riding Heavenly Lord level puppets. If they didn't use the puppets, they wouldn't be qualified to sit. Because there was no battle, Ling Tian and the other old man's heads were outside the puppets. Ling Tian's face was gloomy because he knew the situation wasn't good. With the sound of a bell, the origin of Samsara Palace appeared. Everyone stood up and bowed to the origin of Samsara Palace. All right, let's cut to the chase. I'm here today to see the election of your new city lord. The origin of Samsara Palace said, My lord, the election for the Samsara City Lord is held once every 10 million years. It's not time yet. Thunderfire Skylord bowed and said he wanted to buy some time so that he could still have a chance. Night Sorrow suggested that I move forward, so I decided to do so. Night Sorrow, you're not doing well. You didn't even get a seat. The origin of Samsara Palace turned to look at Night Sorrow. I'm not a heaven monarch yet. I'm not qualified to take a seat. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and said, If I'm not mistaken, you've already become a virtue saint in your own world, right? Said the origin of Samsara Palace. Yes. Night Sorrow nodded. Then how can you not have a seat? How can you not be qualified to sit with them? What kind of world was this? If I say you can have a seat, then you can have one. The sage of merit and virtue must be respected, even if it is me. The origin of Samsara Palace waved its hand, and a chair appeared behind Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow bowed again and sat down. Actually, I've thought about it. Actually, the sage of merit and virtue can be an exception. If you want to be the city lord, then you can be the city lord. The origin of Samsara Palace looked at Night Sorrow and said, The origin of Samsara Palace's words caused a commotion. What did it mean? As long as Night Sorrow nodded, he would be the city lord of Samsara City and become the most powerful person in the world of Samsara. Senior, I'm sorry. I just want to be myself. Let's elect first and see the result. Night Sorrow didn't reject directly. He wanted to see the result of the election. If there were no changes, then the Qing Emperor would be the city lord. If there were changes, he would stand out. Sorry, I want to be the city lord. The origin of Samsara Palace reached out and pointed at Night Sorrow. He didn't say anything because this move was ruthless. It didn't matter whether he advanced or retreated. He was in an invincible position. Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch's eyes turned blue. He had lost completely. He didn't have enough support. He couldn't stall for time either. The origin of World of Samsara didn't give him a chance. At this moment, a figure flashed. A middle-aged man in a white robe, Yuandao Heaven Monarch, found a seat and sat down. Yuandao Heaven Monarch is here. Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch cupped his hands towards Yuandao Heaven Monarch. I won't participate or intervene. I'm just here to take a look. You will elect your candidates. Yuandao Heaven Monarch cupped his hands towards Thunderfire. Then, he cupped his hands towards Qing Emperor and the others. Then let's start. Thunderfire, you are still the city lord. You will be the host. We will start with you. I will wait for the result. The origin of Samsara Palace said, I, Thunderfire Heaven Monarch, support my re-election as the city lord. Who do you support? Funtion Tower Master. Thunderfire first expressed his attitude, and then looked at Funtion Tower Master. I support Thunderfire Heaven Monarch. Funtion Tower Master stood up and bowed to the origin of Samsara Palace. I have 2 supporters now. What about you, sect leader Ling? Thunderfire Heaven Monarch looked at Ling Tian. Thunderfire Heaven Monarch has been running Samsara City well these years. I naturally support him. Ling Tian sat down after finishing his words. Another Sky Peak sect elder also had the same opinion. Then Thunderfire Heaven Monarch asked Sima Tianqing. Sima Tianqing sat in the middle of the 2 camps. If Thunderfire Heaven Monarch needs my support, I will support him. However, I've already repaid the favor from back then. Sima Tianqing stood up and expressed his attitude before sitting down again. Everything else is #pirated only one original #pirated thunder. Fire, Heaven Monarch's face was a little ugly. Sima Tianqing's words were very clear. After supporting you, you and I will be me. There will be no more entanglement. Now, 5 people support me for re-election. Thunderfire Heaven Monarch said to the origin of Samsara Palace. Continue. The origin of Samsara Palace didn't express any attitude. Thunderfire naturally supported him since he asked first. Lei Hua nodded and looked at the Crimson Emperor. It's my turn. Finally, it's my turn to disagree. I support Qing Emperor. Night Sorrow is right. To live in this world, we need a clear and bright universe. Red Emperor sat down after speaking. Not only did he express his attitude, but he also attacked Thunderfire Heaven Monarch. I, Zhan Tan, support Master Qing Emperor to be the city lord of Samsara City. Zhan Tan, who was sitting next to Red Emperor, stood up and sat down after speaking. Valley Masterly, what about you? Think about it. Thunderfire Heaven Monarch looked at Li Tianba. Are you trying to scare me? Some time ago, you attacked my Black Fiend Valley's foundation in Samsara City. Now you wanted to think about it? Think about it, my ass. I will support anyone but you. I support Qing Emperor. Li Tianba exploded after hearing Thunderfire Heaven Monarch's words. Be quiet. It won't happen. Datura, who was not far away, said, Thunderfire, if you don't call me, I will say it myself. I support Qing Emperor. Li Tianhu stood up and said. Then it was Datura's turn. However, Datura didn't stand up. He just looked at Thunderfire Heaven Monarch. Thunderfire Heaven Monarch took a deep breath. If he didn't speak, Datura wouldn't stand up. If he didn't stand up, the election wouldn't go on. The origin of Samsara Palace let him preside over it. The 7th watch arrived. Chapter 1360. Datura, what's your opinion? Who do you support? Thunderfire Heaven Lord could only ask. Please call me Dark Master. You can't call me by my name. I support Qing Emperor. Datura stood up and bowed to the origin of Samsara. Crimson Emperor, Li Tianba, Li Tianhu, Sandalwood, and Mandela. In the blink of an eye, 5 of them supported the Azure Arch. They were already on par with the Thunder, Fire, Heaven Monarch. Only Heavenly Monarch Yu Fei, the Azure the Arch, and Yuan Dao, Heavenly Monarch, had yet to express their opinions. At this time, Thunderfire Heaven Lord did not shout. Misty Rain stood up and bowed to the origin of Samsara Palace. Then she expressed her opinion. Naturally, she supported Qing Emperor. More than one person. At this time, Qing Emperor had more supporters than Thunderfire Heaven Lord. There was no hope. Although Thunderfire Heaven Lord knew that he had lost, he still could not accept the fact in front of him. Qing Emperor naturally supported him. It was already 7-5. Qing Emperor's support exceeded Thunderfire Heaven Lord's by 2 votes. Yuandao Lord of Heaven was the last person. Don't look at me. I won't participate or intervene. I'm just here to watch. Besides, my vote can't change the situation. Yuandao, Lord of Heaven, said, My lord, Qing Emperor and 7 people support you. Thunderfire Heaven Lord's voice was a little low. A just cause enjoys abundant support, while an unjust cause finds little support. You should have known. Take out the Castellan seal. The origin of world of Samsara said to Thunder, Fire Heaven Lord. The origin of Samsara had been dissatisfied with Thunder, Fire Heaven Lord for a long time. But because of the original rules, he was too lazy to care. Now, under the original rules, Thunder, Fire Heaven Lord's failure was also a scene he wanted to see. Thunder, Fire Heaven Lord handed the Castellan seal to the origin of Samsara. The origin of Samsara waved his hand and injected energy into the Castellan seal. Then he handed it to Qing Emperor. Learn from your mistakes. Remember, after saying that, the origin of Samsara turned around and flashed into the Samsara Palace. He didn't need to ask about what happened next. Arrow, is the city lord election over? Night Sorrow asked Dechira. It's done. Dechira nodded. If there are no more restrictions, then what are we waiting for? Kill him. Night Sorrow's body flashed as he spoke. He rushed in front of Burning Heaven Tower Master, who had yet to recover from the loss of the Thunderfire. Then, he unleashed the Great Emperor Samsara Slash. Night Sorrow was as calm as a mountain and as swift as a thunderclap. This was the current Night Sorrow, who had made his move without any warning. A deep purple-colored halo enveloped Burning Heaven Tower Master. Night Sorrow's splitting space carried a profound aura as it charged towards Burning Heaven Tower Master. While unleashing the Great Emperor Samsara Slash, Night Sorrow also activated the Soul Destruction Slash. He also used the Spatial Rend. A deep purple crescent blade and a black spatial rend flew towards Burning Heaven Tower Master. Night Sorrow didn't want to give Burning Heaven Tower Master a chance. Burning Heaven Tower Master would seek revenge as long as he was alive. Night Sorrow's soul power had already surpassed the Overlord level. The stronger the soul power, the more powerful the ultimate skill would be. When Burning Heaven Tower Master broke free from the purple halo's influence and waved his sword to block, Night Sorrow's splitting space was right in front of him. Without a sound, Burning Heaven Tower Master's weapon was broken. To be precise, it was melted into nothingness. The middle section of the battle sword was melted into nothingness. Burning Heaven Tower Master's expression changed drastically. He threw a punch with his left hand and hit Splitting Space. However, he was sent flying by Splitting Space's energy. Night Sorrow had used the Void Extreme Slash. Its penetrating power was tyrannical. It had already destroyed the tendons in Burning Heaven Tower Master's left arm. At this time, the Soul Destruction Slash's crescent blade flew towards Burning Heaven Tower Master's head. It was going to cut into his immortal sea and kill him. However, Burning Heaven Tower Master, who had recovered, had a green halo appear on his head. It kept shaking. It blocked Night Sorrow's Soul Destruction Slash's crescent blade attack. At the same time, he moved his body and dodged the Spatial Rend. Death Destruction Slash. Night Sorrow, who was quickly approaching, used his ultimate skill again. The black halo enveloped Burning Heaven Tower Master. Splitting Space seemed to have penetrated through space. It instantly appeared in front of Burning Heaven Tower Master and penetrated his protective shield. It slammed into the armor that Burning Heaven Tower Master had just put up. It directly shattered the armor. At this time, Night Sorrow had the support of the sovereign attribute, Void Willpower, and the Space-Time Willpower. His attack power had surpassed the Overlord level. He was between the Overlord level and the Overlord level. Burning Heaven Tower Master's armor was Overlord level. However, it couldn't block Night Sorrow's fierce attack. Shock. All the Overlords were shocked. All the cultivators in the Samsara Palace Square were shocked. In the endless years, no Overlord had dared to challenge an Overlord. Not a single one. It was because the two were not on the same level. There was a saying that everyone below the Overlords were ants. It was easy for an Overlord to kill an Overlord. But now, it was still King. Night Sorrow, who hadn't entered the Overlord level yet, had attacked an Overlord. Both of his attacks were effective. Night Sorrow's first attack broke Burning Heaven Tower Master's weapon. The second attack broke Burning Heaven Tower Master's armor. It was simply brutal. At this time, Dachira also attacked. She was a little stunned by Night Sorrow. The reincarnation origin had just left, and this side had already started killing people. She recovered and naturally attacked. When Dachira attacked, Night Sorrow didn't continue attacking. This was because Dachira didn't need anyone's help to kill Burning Heaven Tower Master. Pathetic. Burning Heaven Tower Master was in a pathetic state. Dachira's beautiful hollow knife was like the sharp blade in the hand of the Grim Reaper. It was used to reap lives. After a while, Burning Heaven Tower Master's body was stabbed. His body was covered in blood. Thunderfire Heaven Lord wanted to help because Burning Heaven Tower Master was his subordinate. However, he couldn't. Sandalwood was standing in front of him with a knife in one hand. Red Emperor Li, Tianba, and the others all had weapons in their hands. If Thunderfire Heaven Lord moved, it would be a huge battle. He didn't dare. Sandalwood was a new overlord, but her combat power was definitely one of the best among the overlords. In addition, the reason why Heaven Lord of Thunderfire and Ling Tian did not dare to move was that Cyan the Arch had already recognized the city leader's seal as its owner. At this time, Cyan the Arch could control the origin energy of Samsara Palace. No one here was Cyan Thearcha's opponent. Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow. Very good. It's just a little lacking. Give it some more time, and it will be fine. Night Sorrow nodded and continued to look at the battlefield. Dachira, who was wearing a black dress embroidered with golden Dachira, was very domineering when she attacked. Every move was filled with beauty. Burning Heaven Tower Master was in a pathetic state. He was stabbed more and more, and his condition naturally declined. Is it fun to team up with others and attack the Eastern District of the world of Samsara? Original Z version. First release. Do you think the Eastern District of the world of Samsara is easy to bully? Mandela cursed him every time he swung his saber. Hee. Night Sorrow. She doesn't scold you usually, right? Precious Fragrance Heaven Lord looked at Night Sorrow and asked. No. Aluo is usually very gentle and never loses her temper. This person deserves to be killed, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1361. Night Sorrow felt very blissful because Dachira was very gentle to him. She was domineering outside, but not at home. She was the high and mighty dark dominator. She was domineering outside, but she was gentle to Night Sorrow because of her feelings for him. The battle continued, but Fun Tian Tower Master was on the verge of collapsing. His arms and legs were broken, his weapon was gone, and his armor was shattered. What could he use to fight with Dachira? Dachira's left sleeve shook violently. Then, the hollow blade in her right hand slashed out in an arc. The blade cut Fun Tian Tower Master's head open. His spirit sea shattered, and his nascent soul was destroyed. Dachira checked Fun Tian Tower Master's storage ring and nodded to Night Sorrow. He is completely dead. There are no doppelgangers. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded to Dachira. Behave yourselves. I will kill anyone who offend my husband. Dachira looked at Heavenly Lord of Thunderfire with murderous eyes. If it was an ordinary man, he would be looked down upon by his wife because he lived off her. However, no one would look down on Night Sorrow. Sovereign King, with just the cultivation of Sovereign King, he dared to attack a Heaven Pillar powerhouse, destroying the weapon and armor of a Heaven Pillar powerhouse in 2 moves. This was a display of strength. Who could look down on him? Jean, go back and bring people to take over the City Lord Mansion. Only people are allowed to leave. No one is allowed to touch a single blade of grass in the mansion. Qing Emperor said to Jean. Jean nodded. She knew it was done. From today onwards, Reincarnation City would have a new owner. The only original VL, the others are all pirated copies. Qing Emperor, don't go too far. Heavenly Lord of Thunder Fire stared at Qing Emperor. Lightning Fire Heaven Monarch, go back to your Thunder Dao Cliff and be a proper person. Then we can let bygones be bygones. If you think you can do it, then jump and try. If I dare to touch Burning Heaven Tower Lord, then I dare to kill you. Before Qing Emperor could speak, Night Sorrow spoke up. The Heavenly Lord of Thunder Fire snorted and turned around to fly out of the city. He had nothing to do with the City Lord Mansion anymore. He would not be allowed to enter again. As for those who were related to him, they would be expelled. There was no need for him to pick them up. Night Sorrow, although you don't want to do it, there are some things that I still need you to arrange. For the time being, go to the City Lord's Mansion and help me with this critical period. Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow and said, he knew that he could handle the matters of the Alliance, but he wasn't as reliable as Night Sorrow. I'll follow Master's arrangements. Night Sorrow nodded. Then it's settled. I invite everyone to the City Lord's Mansion. There is still good wine and tea. Qing Emperor cupped his hands towards the group of giants. Ling Tian didn't say anything and left with another elder. He was too embarrassed to support the Heavenly Lord of Thunderfire. Since the Heavenly Lord of Thunderfire didn't have the face to stay, he naturally didn't have the face to stay either. Then, everyone dispersed. Qing Emperor brought a group of people to the City Lord's Mansion. However, Night Sorrow didn't go. He and Dechira went to the original courtyard. That was Dechira's property. Night Sorrow, you were too reckless today. You are very strong, but there is still a gap between you and a giant. There is a gap in your comprehension of will, realm, and energy. You need to cultivate for a few more days. Dechira said. He was worried about Night Sorrow. Okay, I will pay attention. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Dechira was worried about him. You were very domineering today. All the cultivators in the world of reincarnation know that a king destroyed the giant's weapon and armor. No matter how many years have passed, this will be a heavy stroke in history. It will be an inspiration for the future generations. Dechira said. Night Sorrow just smiled. In fact, he didn't think about this. At that time, he just felt that he couldn't let Fintian Tower Lord run away. If he ran away, it would be troublesome. Therefore, he took action. Now it's stable. Your master is the City Lord of Reincarnation City. He has absolute control over the power struggle. The Celestial Sect also has to tuck their tail between their legs. They have trump cards. Your master has the City Lord's seal of Reincarnation City, which is a treasure with the origin attack. Does the Celestial Sect dare to try their trump card to fight against the origin of reincarnation? They don't dare to try, Dechira said. This is great news. Even if the Zhongwu dynasty wants to start a war, the Qing Emperor's dynasty won't be too passive. Night Sorrow said. Dechira was a little stunned. She knew that people from the Zhongwu dynasty came to attend her and Night Sorrow's wedding. However, she didn't know why they left before the wedding. Night Sorrow then told Dechira what happened at that time. Shameless. What do you think other people's daughters are? You're asking for a beating. You've never been taken advantage of before. Once you've been taken advantage of, you'll be honest. Dechira said. Night Sorrow nodded. He had the same idea. Just like Yi Qing Yin, if they were in love with each other, he wouldn't care. However, if anyone dared to have designs on his daughter, he would kill them all. A group of people were drinking tea and chatting in the City Lord's mansion. City Lord Qing Emperor, you've taken in 2 good disciples. Lord Yuan Dao said. It's mainly because the 2 of them are hardworking. Brother Yuan Dao doesn't come out often, so we don't have much time to talk, Qing Emperor said. For countless years, we have been trying to find a way to break through. However, we just couldn't figure it out. But then again, it makes sense. After so many years, no one has been able to make any progress. It's just too difficult. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord said. The step he was referring to was a breakthrough. A breakthrough to level 9. Let's go and take a look. Perhaps the opportunity will come, Qing Emperor said. Actually, there are some things that I didn't say or communicate with others. In fact, Yuan Daoyin's existence is to guard a spatial tunnel. Yuan Daoyin's ancestor has ordered that Yuan Daoyin's existence is to guard it. Now that I'm under pressure, I'm telling the City Lord. If we really can't handle it, we'll need the City Lord's help, Yuan Daotian said. What's on the other side of the spatial tunnel? Sima Tianqing asked. I don't know. Through the seal, we can see demons. Those demons are different from the demons in the dark abyss. They're more ferocious, Lord Yuan Dao said. As long as we're united in the world of reincarnation, anything can be solved. If you need help, Lord Yuan Dao, just say the word. Qing Emperor said. Okay. Lord Yuan Dao nodded. During the banquet, the City Lord's mansion sent someone to invite Knight Sorrow and Dechira. Sima Tianqing and Lord Yuan Dao might not know, but everyone in the Qing Emperor's Dynasty Alliance knew that Knight Sorrow was the alliance leader. Everyone also knew that Knight Sorrow refused to be the City Lord of Reincarnation City. If Knight Sorrow wanted it, he wouldn't need it. The origin of reincarnation would approve of it. After Knight Sorrow and Dechira arrived, the banquet began. Lord Yuan Dao sat down at Knight Sorrow's table. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Dechira, he looked at Knight Sorrow and communicated with Knight Sorrow. If you have time, come visit Yuan Daotian. This is a map. This is the first time Yuan Daotian has issued a map. Find it and you'll be able to reach Yuan Daotian, Lord Yuan Dao said. Chapter 1362. All right, I'll definitely visit Yuan Dao Celestial when I have time, said Knight Sorrow. All right, bring the Dark Dominator along. I'll be the host. Yuan Dao Heavenly Monarch nodded. Yuan Dao Celestial had not interacted with the outside world for many years. Now that they had taken out a map of their sect and given it to Knight Sorrow, it was a sign of goodwill. Brother Yuan Dao Celestial can also come out and develop. This reincarnation city is everyone's reincarnation city, said Qing Emperor. All right, I'll think about it. Yuan Dao Heavenly Monarch nodded. Recently, the world of reincarnation has been in turmoil. I can't say who's right and who's wrong, but there are still some things that need to be dealt with. Heaven's Seizing Island, Burning Sky Towers area in Reincarnation City, and Thunderfire's property. I'll take them out and distribute them. Qing Emperor's dynasty won't take any more, but our allies in the empty areas should have some. Yuan Dao Celestial didn't have a share in the past, so it's only right that they have a share, said Qing Emperor. Then I'll thank Brother Qing. Yuan Dao Heavenly Monarch laughed. Knight Sorrow, you're also someone with your own world. Don't you want some territory to develop? Our Blackfiend Valley can give you some. Li Tianba looked at Knight Sorrow and said, There's no need for that, but there's a suitable place. I'm planning to buy a tea house. When the time comes, we can all have tea together. It'll be free of charge. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Latest chapter, section, part 1 That's a good idea. Our Sima residence has a tea house near the teleportation formation. The location is pretty good. I'll give it to you. Sima Tianqing said. Really? Then it would be impolite for me to refuse. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands at Sima Tianqing. A tea house was nothing to a top force, but Sima Tianqing's offer was a sign of goodwill. It wouldn't be appropriate to reject it. It was tantamount to keeping people 1,000 miles away. During the banquet, everyone had a good chat. They also discussed the new share of the Samsara city for all forces. Everyone was happy. The time of the Samsara Palace was also redistributed. Since the Qing Emperor's dynasty had the most magnates, he had the most share. After drinking, Knight Sorrow and Dechira returned to Dechira's courtyard. Knight Sorrow, everyone is happy now. That heavenly monarch of Thunderfire and Ling Tian should be more well-behaved because they no longer have the capital to jump. Dechira said. Knight Sorrow nodded. Now, the heavenly lord of Thunderfire should be afraid. He was afraid that the Qing Emperor and the Dynasty Alliance would give him a ruthless blow. If that happened, his Thunder Cliff would be destroyed. Knight Sorrow reckoned that the heavenly lord of Thunderfire would not dare to stay in the Thunder Cliff. As for Ling Tian, his previous trump card was very powerful, but he didn't dare to challenge the Samsara City Lord. The Samsara City Lord controlled the City Lord's seal, which was a treasure with the original will and original energy. Knight Sorrow and Dechira chatted. Both of them were very relaxed now. Knight Sorrow, I know about your relationship with Shueshi. You can't continue like this. Dechira started to talk about family matters. This is my fault. It has been like this for many years. I feel guilty. She didn't want to marry me in the past. That time, I proposed to her, and she agreed. Later on, because our engagement was approaching, she said we would talk about it later. In the end, she kept postponing it. Knight Sorrow was a little guilty. Then find a time to hold the wedding. Actually, you should marry us together, Dechira said. I've thought about it, and asked her. If she thinks it's okay, I'll tell you and let you suffer a little. Then we'll do it together. I believe you'll understand. But she doesn't think it's appropriate, so we keep delaying it, Yishan said. Let me handle this. I know you're tired. I will take care of the family matters, Dechira said. Knight Sorrow nodded at Dechira. Dechira's understanding made Knight Sorrow feel relieved. But your original body is in seclusion again, Dechira said. It doesn't matter. We have been together for many years. To put it bluntly, we are already an old couple. It's just that we don't have a title, Knight Sorrow said. Hee, you are really something. You have harmed her for so many years, but you didn't marry her. Dechira rolled his eyes at Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow was speechless. He didn't want to harm anyone. While the two were drinking tea, Sima Tiancheng sent someone to deliver a restaurant's deed and land deed. He gave the best location of the Sima mansion to Knight Sorrow. Let's go and see our family's property. Knight Sorrow nodded at Dechira. Then, under the guidance of the Sima mansion's entourage, Knight Sorrow and Dechira went to a restaurant not far from the transmission array square. It was very imposing. It had 4 floors and occupied a lot of ground. It was surrounded by attics, and in the middle was a water pavilion. There were also some small tables. The style was very good. Sir, this is a complete set. Behind a restaurant is a mansion. The scenery is also good. The Sima mansion's entourage said to Knight Sorrow. After looking around, Knight Sorrow liked it very much. He felt that it was inappropriate to take advantage of the Sima mansion, so he took out 2 soft jade tendon pills. Bring this back to your Sima mansion's master. Tell him that Knight Sorrow thanks him for his generosity. Knight Sorrow took out a storage ring and made an imprint, then said to the Sima mansion's entourage. The Sima mansion's entourage left with the people who were originally in the restaurant. Dechira left for a while and brought some people over. They were the people who managed the Dark Abyss property. Knight Sorrow then looked at the mansion. The layout of the mansion was very good and the level was high. The furnishings and decorations also cost a lot. This was enough to see that Sima Tiancheng was very sincere. Yishan's return gift was also very heavy. The nephrite tendons and bones was an extraordinary medicinal pill that could not be exchanged for several tea houses and mansions like this. It was a miraculous item that could increase one's strength. Knight Sorrow didn't want to owe anyone a favor. In addition, he felt that Sima Tiancheng was very good. The other party wanted to make friends with him, so he should give him a gift. Knight Sorrow didn't have any thoughts of doing business, but he felt that it was good to have a foothold. This place was safe because Reincarnation City was under the control of the Qing Emperor. No one could mess around here. Dechira also called 2 maids to clean the mansion. At this time, in another courtyard in Reincarnation City, the Sima mansion's servant handed Knight Sorrow's storage ring to Sima Tiancheng. Sima Tiancheng casually opened the storage ring. Feeling that it was Sima mansion's master, the soul imprint that Knight Sorrow left behind disappeared. Knight Sorrow left a soul imprint on the storage ring mainly because he didn't want this pill to be stolen. There were only 2 jade bottles in the storage ring. After opening them and studying them, Sima Tiancheng's face changed. Did Knight Sorrow say anything else? He just asked me to bring this back and tell Mansion Master that he is grateful for the generosity. He didn't say anything else. The Sima Mansion's servant said, Lu Xiang, how should we deal with this? Sima Tian Chung looked at his wife. The 10th chapter arrived. Chapter 1363. What do you mean? What kind of pill is it? Lord of Precious Fragrance asked. It's a soft jade muscle pill that can strengthen the dantian and meridians. It can fundamentally change a cultivator's potential. Sima Tian Chung said, Are you sure it's a soft jade muscle pill? Lord of Precious Fragrance looked at her husband and asked, You don't know much about pills, but your husband is a heavenly master alchemist. I've never refined or seen a soft jade muscle pill, but I've read about it in the ancient books. I know the shape, color, and medicinal properties. This can't be wrong. Sima Tian Chung said, How generous. How does this guy do this? Lord of Precious Fragrance was a little puzzled because the soft jade muscle pill was extremely valuable. Principle. This is his principle. He doesn't take advantage of others, and he doesn't owe others. But this way, we will owe him. Sima Tian Chung said, It's not appropriate to return it. It shows that we don't have the sincerity to be friends with him. Lord of Precious Fragrance said, It's said that people with a virtuous body are imperceptibly close to the heavenly Tao. The facts have proven that this is the case. This guy is generous to us, but at the same time, he has an invisible knife that we have to accept. If something happens to him in the future, we can't just stand by and watch. Sima Tian Chung said with a bitter smile, Okay, we also got a bargain. We can't exchange the soft jade muscle pill with resources. Lord of Precious Fragrance poured a cup of tea for her husband and said, Sima Tian Chung nodded. Although the soft jade muscle pill was a little hot, he had to accept it. Knight Sorrow and Dechira strolled in the night of Samsara City. Dechira held Knight Sorrow's arm. She didn't look like a giant at all. She was a gentle and peerless beauty. The two walked on the street like ordinary people. It was raining. Knight Sorrow planned to buy 2 umbrellas, but Dechira only allowed him to buy 1. Knight Sorrow smiled and bought 1. If they wanted to, they didn't need an umbrella at all. Not to mention the rain, even a knife couldn't get close. Back then, when I first came to the human world, I saw a couple who looked like this. I was very envious. Dechira looked at Knight Sorrow and said, In the future, as long as you want, I will accompany you. Just like today, strolling in the rain. Knight Sorrow nodded and said, Don't favor one and discriminate against the other. There are still a few at home, Dechira said with a smile. The latest LP coming soon, I will. I know it's not easy for them. I've neglected them a little, but that's not my intention. If I work harder now, I can give them a more stable sky, Knight Sorrow said. The girls and I understand you, so you don't have to bear any pressure. Dechira tightened her grip on Knight Sorrow's arm. Knight Sorrow was glad that his wife understood him. What a husband and wife needed was this kind of understanding and support. What kind of elixir did you give Sima Tian Chung in return? Dechira thought of today's matter. 2 soft jade tendon pills, Knight Sorrow said. Your return gift is too expensive. Dechira was a little surprised. We can't owe them anything. Besides, politeness demands reciprocity. That couple is a good person. They're the kind of people who keep to their word. They're worth befriending, said Yishang, but they will feel that they owe you. Dechira said with a smile. That's their business, not mine. Knight Sorrow laughed because this feeling was very good. Dechira also laughed. Knight Sorrow's atmosphere did bring pressure to Sima Tian Chung. The two strolled around and returned to the mansion behind a restaurant to rest. After resting for a while, Knight Sorrow ran back to Chies City and found Chen Shun. Brother, I found a good place to open a tea house. Now, please be the boss. Knight Sorrow shouted as soon as he entered the tea house. A good place in your eyes must be very good. Take me there. Chen Shun said. His dream was to be a successful businessman. Then Knight Sorrow took Chen Shun to Samsara City and went to his own tea house. It's great that there is such a place in such a big city. It's good to open a tea house here. It's boring if you don't open a restaurant. Chun Chun said excitedly. Well, from today onwards, you are the boss here. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Okay, the place is yours. I'll run it. You take 70% of the income, and I take 30%. Chun Chun began to calculate directly. Brother, you don't need it. You know I don't need it. Night Sorrow said. You don't care about your big business, but I care. I'll work hard and make some pocket money for my nephew and niece. In fact, when you do business to a certain level, making money is secondary. It's just a hobby, and I like the process. Chun Chun said with a smile. The tea house was handed over to Chun Chun, and Night Sorrow did not care about it. Night Sorrow returned to the Nine Chong building and found Jun Xuanji. He asked Jun Xuanji to pay attention to the movements of the Celestial Sect and the Thundercliff. Then Night Sorrow and Dechira returned to the city in the sky. There was nothing to do in Samsara City. When the banquet was held in the City Lord's mansion that day, some things in Samsara City were distributed. The cultivation time of the Samsara Palace was also adjusted. Everyone was happy, so Night Sorrow had nothing to worry about. After returning to the city in the sky, Night Sorrow told his parents that he would hold a make-up wedding for Xue Shi. Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing were naturally happy. After setting a date, they began to arrange it. However, Xue Shi didn't want to make a big deal. Her family could just hold a banquet and have a meal. Night Sorrow respected Xue Shi's opinion. Xue Shi was not a high-profile person. The situation was stable. Night Sorrow rested and accompanied his family. As for the search for the missing part of the pagoda of time and space, Night Sorrow thought it could wait. In addition, Night Sorrow took out the golden man he had obtained in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion and gave it to Sikong Chuyu to refine. Aoi had the small space world and the ability to protect herself. Yang Lei was straightforward. She did not study alchemy, refining weapons, or formations. However, Sikong Chuyu studied formations. Night Sorrow asked Sikong Chuyu to refine it. To Night Sorrow, a monarch-rank Golden Man bodyguard was not significant. Peaceful days were very comfortable. Night Sorrow spent every day with his family and studied formations. His true body cultivated diligently, while Night Sorrow's clone cultivated some skillful things. 3 years passed quickly. On Night Sorrow's day, Jun Xuanji came when he was drawing the formation diagram. What's the matter? Night Sorrow looked up at Jun Xuanji. Yes, it's a mess. I don't know when the Thunder Fire Heaven Lord and the people from the Shenwu Great World came. They have declared war on us. Moreover, the people from Shenwu Great World have already set up camp at the Thunder Cliff. Things are out of control, Jun Xuanji said. It's only a matter of time. Conflicts will erupt. The root of the problem is not solved yet, Night Sorrow said. Since they are here, let's fight. Make us look bad. Let's see who will look worse in the end. Dechira walked over and said. Chapter 1364. Unsealed. Cool net, authentic. Declaring war is contempt. We won't accept such contempt. No one can look down on us, Night Sorrow said. That's right. No one can. Dechira nodded. Then let's go back. I've only been able to live a peaceful life for 3 years. How troublesome. Yishang stretched, and then went to tell his parents and wife that he had something to do. Then he and Mandela took the teleportation formation to the 9 stories building and then took the teleportation formation to Samsara City. Night Sorrow and Dechira went straight to the City Lord's mansion. There were many people in the City Lord's mansion, including the leaders who attended the banquet last time. Everyone nodded when they saw Night Sorrow and Dechira. Qing Emperor then told them about the current situation. This time, it wasn't just the War Tiger dynasty. The Shenwu Great World's Martial Sacred Palace and several other top forces also took action. The War Tiger dynasty was the #1 force in the Shenwu Great World. Its actions could affect the decisions of other forces. If they followed a path, they might be able to get some benefits. If they didn't, they would be viewed as enemies. This was the way of the world. For benefits and self-protection, one had to go with the flow. Of course, The personality of the leader of the force was also the main factor. Thunder, Fire, Heaven Lord, this traitor is too hateful. Red Emperor said, I didn't expect this. Now that Thunderfire has done this, Thundercliff will become a stronghold for the Shenwu Great World to attack us. We haven't even started the battle, and they've already invaded. Sima Tian, Chang said, I'm sorry. Actually, this was caused by me and the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Qing Emperor cupped his hands to everyone. What's going on? Li Tianba asked. Qing Emperor then told them what happened before Knight Soro's wedding. If they go too far, we can't tolerate it. Qing Emperor, if you tolerate it, we will all feel ashamed, Red Emperor said. We strive, we work hard, and we want to achieve great things. Why? He did it for the sake of his reputation and for the sake of his family members. What was the fierce tiger, Celestial Lord? Let's fight then. Sima Tian, Chang said. Thank you for your understanding. Let's make some arrangements first. We can't afford to be disrupted, Qing Emperor said. We have a master tactician here. Knight Soro, what do you think? Red Emperor asked Knight Soro with a smile. I'll just listen. When you need me to fight, I'll fight, Knight Soro said. Don't be humble. This is a huge matter. Everyone in the world of reincarnation is responsible for it. Lord of Precious Fragrance said. Yes, Knight Soro, tell us about it. Qing Emperor nodded. He believed in Knight Soro's talent. I admire your tactics. Li Qianba supported Knight Soro. Then let me tell you. First of all, we need to know that this war won't end in a short period of time. Therefore, we need to be prepared for a long war. Another thing is about internal harmony and unity. Thunderfire Lord has ruled Samsara City for a long time and has a great influence. Our internal harmony is very important. We can't have a traitor, Yishan said. That makes sense. Continue. Qing Emperor nodded. I'm not targeting anyone. Will Sky Sect be on the same side as Thunder Fire Heaven Lord? Will they attack us? We need to figure it out. Otherwise, we will be attacked from both sides, Knight Soro said. It's hard to say. We need to be on guard, Sima Tian Chang said. That's a problem. If they want to attack us, they will attack us. If we want to attack them, we will attack them. Since we want to fight, we will fight to our heart's content. We also need to be prepared to fight all the way to Shenwu Great World, Knight Soro said. There's no chance. Shenwu Great World has closed the transmission formation that connects to Reincarnation City. Currently, only Thunder Cliff has a transmission formation that connects to Shenwu Great World. Lord of Precious Fragrance, who had been silent, said. That's fast. Has the transmission formation between Xuanhuan Great World and Shenwu Great World been closed? If it hasn't, quickly go to Shenwu Great World and set up a few secret transmission formations. That way, we can kill our way in whenever we want, Knight Soro said. Shin Daozi, go and take a look. If possible, set up a transmission formation. Here are 2 pieces of top-grade transmission crystals. Qing Emperor took out 2 transmission crystals and gave them to Xian Daozi. Okay, I'll do it, Xian Daozi said and left. If it works, we won't be too passive, Knight Soro said. They won't close the transmission formation to Xuanhuan Great World so quickly. After all, they are fighting with us. It has nothing to do with Xuanhuan Great World, Qing Emperor said. If not, then it's easy. Next, Master, you can study the strength of the other side and then formulate tactics. Knight Soro said the most important points and then cupped his hands to everyone. Then Qing Emperor made some arrangements, mainly to investigate the strength of the other side. Knight Soro and Dachira also returned to the mansion behind the heart-cleansing tea house. Knight Soro, what do you think of this war? Dachira looked at Knight Soro and asked, It's nothing. They want to take down our world of reincarnation? Obviously not. We're just trying to take advantage of them. If Uncle Xiandaozi can set up a transmission formation, we won't be passive at all. If not, then we'll have to think of something else, Knight Soro said. The War Tiger dynasty is very strong. If it was the world of reincarnation in the past, it wouldn't be easy to resist them. The 3 royal lords of the War Tiger dynasty are all experts among the Heaven Masters. Ordinary heaven masters wouldn't be able to resist them. But after you appeared, you brought the soul cultivation liquid and the cultivation method of not leaking real body. The strength of the heaven masters in our world of reincarnation increased, making up for the difference, said Mandela. Aluo, if there's a battle, you must be careful. Don't be reckless, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry. Before you appeared, I was not afraid of any sky pillars. After you gave me the soul cultivation liquid, my strength increased by 20%. After cultivating the secret of real body, my strength increased again. The soft jade muscle pill also strengthened my body. I can fight and kill whoever comes, Dachira said. My master's body is not very good now. Apart from you, who else is strong? Night Sorrow asked. Yuan Dao, Heavenly Lord, is strong, but he might not participate in the war. Another is your senior brother, Sandalwood. Among the sky pillars, his combat strength should be the strongest. His attributes are the best at fighting head-on. In addition, he also used the soul cultivation liquid and cultivated the secret of real body. If an ordinary sky pillar goes against him, they will definitely be killed if they don't have a life-saving lost art, Dachira said. Then what will happen if senior brother fights with the strongest in Shenwu Great World? Night Sorrow asked. This was the topic that Night Sorrow was most concerned about. The most important thing in a war was which side was the strongest. Speak. Second update. Thank you, Boss P, and the other two brothers for unlocking yesterday's chapter. Chapter 1365. It's hard to say. There are many external factors in a battle. The Emperor of the Zhanwu dynasty, Lord God Hu, is very strong and has killed other sky masters. I'm confident that I can stop him. As for whether I can kill him or lose, it's hard to say. Your brother should be in the same situation, Dachira said. I know. As long as I'm not at a disadvantage, it's fine, Night Sorrow said. Dachira nodded. She was very confident. There was only so much room for improvement for Sky Masters. She had almost reached the limit, and Sandalwood was the same. Night Sorrow was still a little anxious. He had cultivated in the space-time pagoda for 3 years and the real world for 60 years, but he still hadn't reached the monarch realm. The further one progressed, the more difficult it would be to comprehend willpower. That was because one had already comprehended the easy parts, and the rest was extremely difficult. There was another reason. There were only so many willpower in the world. It was like a bucket full of water. It was easier to draw water with a ladle in the beginning, but later on, no amount of water would be drawn. What are you thinking about? Dachira asked. I've cultivated in the real world for 3 years, and in the space-time pagoda for 60 years, but my willpower hasn't reached the monarch realm. Night Sorrow sighed. Dachira laughed. She leaned forward and back and patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. It's only been 60 years. If you can make King Monarch in 60 years, there will be monarchs everywhere. Yeah, I'm a little anxious. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that time wasn't enough. No matter how good you are, no matter how talented you are, you need time to accumulate. This is the law, Dachira said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the Samsara Palace took good care of him. The display of willpower was very strong, and it was a display of various forms. It was very easy to understand and accept, but it couldn't change the law of time. However, in these 60 years, Night Sorrow had also reaped great benefits. His willpower of space-time had reached the middle stage of king level, and his willpower of nothingness had reached the middle stage of king level. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Dachira looked outside and walked to the entrance of the mansion. Sikong Tiansheng and Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance had arrived. Heavenly Monarchs, this way please. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and greeted them. Good. The Cleansing Heart Tea House is good. It's very famous now. The Cleansing Heart Tea is unique. This place has been wasted in my hands for so many years. Sima Tian Chung took his wife into the courtyard. Night Sorrow thanks Manor Head Sima for your generosity. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then, he led Sima Tian Chung and Lord of Precious Fragrance into the mansion and brewed tea. Night Sorrow, You're wrong. This tea house was given to you by me. You don't need to return the favor. If you return the favor, I will have to accept it and owe you a favor. Sima Tiancheng said after sitting down. It's nothing. Courtesy demands reciprocity. Mannerhead is generous. Night Sorrow also needs to show some appreciation. Night Sorrow smiled. He didn't expect Sima Tiancheng to be so direct. The only genuine one, the others are all pirated, haha. Soft Jade Tendon Pill is a good thing. It's a pill that can only be found by chance. Owing a favor is nothing. You and Lei Huo are different people. Sima Tiancheng said. Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch and Mandela were friends and naturally got along well. Yishang and Sima Tiancheng also had a good chat. After chatting for a while, Sima Tiancheng and Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch left. After sending the two off, Night Sorrow and Dechira went to the tea house and drank tea while looking at the street outside. What are you thinking about? Dechira looked at Night Sorrow and asked, I'm wondering if Sky Peak Sect is working together with Lei Hua Tiancheng. Night Sorrow said, I can't say for sure, because no one knows what Ling Tian, this despicable person, will do. But we must be vigilant. Dechira said, no one can be sure about this. Ling Tian was a despicable person who would do anything. This is an unstable factor, but we can't do anything to them now. It's morally untenable. Besides, we can't bear the impact when the war is coming. Night Sorrow said helplessly. The Celestial Sect was flaunting their prowess now, not because of the strength of the cultivators themselves, but because they had the puppet of a Heaven Master level powerhouse and the corpse of a 9th stage cultivator. After the rank 9 corpse was activated, no one knew how powerful it would be. But conservatively speaking, even if its strength was reduced when it was alive, its combat power would still be far beyond a Heaven Master level puppet. This impact was not something the world of Samsara could bear. We can only look at the situation. Now the spies of various forces are watching Sky Peak Sect closely. If Sky Peak Sect makes a move, even if there are losses, we have to deal with Sky Peak Sect first. Dechira said, there's nothing we can do about it. We can only wait and see what choice Ling Tian makes. However, I don't think he'll betray the world of reincarnation because there's no benefit for him. The most he can do is to ignore this war and wait for us to suffer losses. Then, he'll come out and take advantage of us. This is also in line with Ling Tian's character, Yishan said. Dechira nodded. Thunderfire Lord betrayed the world of Samsara because he was disgraced. He was kicked out of his position as the city lord and lost all his face. It was impossible for him to develop in the future, so he was shameless. However, Sky Peak Sect had developed in the world of Samsara for countless years. It existed after the world of Samsara was formed. It had a long history and was deeply rooted. If they betrayed the world of Samsara, they would be despised by the people of the world of Samsara. Even if they wanted to recruit disciples in the future, no one would join them. Night Sorrow and Dechira stayed in the mansion and waited for the news. At present, the army of Shenwu Great World appeared, but they were still in the preparation stage. They didn't attack directly. There was no possibility of surprise in the war between worlds. They could only advance steadily. A few days later, someone from the City Lord's mansion came to inform Night Sorrow and Dechira to come to the City Lord's mansion for a meeting. Here's some news. When Night Sorrow arrived at the City Lord's mansion, not all the Heaven Masters were there. Night Sorrow and Dechira waited at the side. The meeting couldn't begin until everyone was present. However, it only took a short while. Everyone came quickly. Then, Qing Emperor, who was sitting on the main seat, spoke. We have the results of the investigation on their strength. There are 5 forces in the Shenwu Great World that joined forces to attack the world of Samsara. There are 9 Heaven Masters from the Shenwu Great World who came to participate in the war. Including the traitor Thunderfire, there are 9 Heaven Masters in total, which is the same as the number of people we have now. Qing Emperor said, that is to say, except for the Zhongwu dynasty, all the other forces have 1 Heaven Master. Even if there are 2 Heaven Masters, they only sent 1 person to fight. Misty Rain added. There are quite a lot of people who came to participate in the war. Qing Emperor, is there any news about Xiandaozi? Red Emperor asked. Yes, I called everyone here today to talk about this matter. They really haven't closed the teleportation formation that connects to the Xuanhuan Great World. It's not that they didn't close it. They only closed it this morning. Xiandaozi has already returned. The 2 secret teleportation formations have already been set up, Emperor Qing said. Chapter 1366. Everyone nodded their heads happily. Fortunately, I came back in time. As soon as I arrived at the Xianhuan Great World, someone shouted that they couldn't teleport to the Shenwu Great World. They communicated with the Xianhuang City Lord and decided to close the portal for a while, Xiandaozi said. Hee. With the dark portal, we won't be too passive, Sima Tiancheng said. Since they left a backup plan, the 2 armies will confront each other and officially start a war. There's no way to cheat. They're going all out. Their first target is the Black Fiend Valley, Qing Emperor said. Everyone's intention was clear. They were going to have a decisive battle in the Black Fiend Valley. Since they were already here, they would have to fight. Then, the armies of all forces were mobilized and gathered in the Dragon Cloud Mountain in the Black Fiend Valley. When the Nine Heavens army arrived, Knight Sorrow, the commander, naturally arrived. Nu Lin helped Knight Sorrow bring Ice Qilin along. Looking at Ice Qilin, Knight Sorrow was very surprised. Ice Qilin was already a 5-star king. It hadn't been long since he had advanced from a 4-star king to a 5-star king. This showed that he was very talented. Dechura told Knight Sorrow that Ice Qilin was still very young. To have such a cultivation at such a young age, he was definitely a direct descendant of the Xian Ice Qilin Tiger clan. The Demon Blood Army and the Bloodthirsty Army of the Dark Abyss also arrived at the Dragon Cloud Mountain. This time, the Reincarnation Great World had mobilized all the elites. While Knight Sorrow was talking with Ice Qilin, Qing Emperor came to the camp of the Nine Heavens Army. Master, you're here. Knight Sorrow invited Qing Emperor into the tent. After looking at all the armies, our Nine Heavens Army is still the most energetic, Qing Emperor said after sitting down. Master, how are you now? Knight Sorrow asked. Much better. If the heavenly law allowed you to recover 70% of your powers, then the City Lord Seal can suppress 20% of your powers. If I were to fight, I would have 90% of my powers. That should be enough, Qing Emperor said. Z Genuine first release, it's not a big problem. However, the daily torment of the evil dragon's poisonous centipede is extremely unbearable, Knight Sorrow said. Knight Sorrow was very clear about the evil dragon's poison centipede. The evil dragon's poison centipede was a great torment to a person's body and soul. It was also a great test of willpower. It's all right. Actually, I've managed to survive this calamity, Qing Emperor said with a smile. Although he was tortured, Qing Emperor knew that Wu You's life was over. Right now, I have the strength to contend against a monarch. However, the White Tiger tribe cannot be calculated as an ordinary cultivator. Therefore, I plan to go after I have a greater chance of success, Knight Sorrow said. Don't worry. I'll be relieved when you reach the monarch realm. You have talents and attributes that others don't have. Once you reach the monarch realm, I'm afraid that even a Sky Master won't be able to threaten your life. You can go anywhere you want, Qing Emperor said. He knew his little disciple well. When he attacked the Funtian Tower Master in front of the Samsara Palace, he saw his potential and strength. Then, the master and disciple discussed the current situation. Qing Emperor felt that it was not the time for a life-and-death struggle. It was not the time for a Sky Master to fight head-on. The Samsara world would not be at a disadvantage in a war between armies. A Sky Master came from the Shenwu Great World. However, only 5 armies were mobilized. The Samsara world had mobilized almost all of their armies. They had an advantage in a war between armies. In addition, a stalemate was also advantageous for the Samsara world. They would consume less energy if they fought in their own territory. If the Shenwu Great World did not achieve anything in a short period of time, their momentum would decline. Master, Lord of Heaven Yuandao knows about our war, right? Knight Sorrow asked. He felt that it was a bit strange. A war between worlds broke out in the Samsara world. As the top force in the Samsara world, Lord of Heaven Yuandao should have reacted. Lord of Heaven Yuandao sent a message to you. He said that you should send a message to him, if necessary. Now, Lord of Heaven Yuandao has other things to deal with. That is to say, only the celestial sect is not harmonious in the Samsara world, Qing Emperor said. It's disgusting that the celestial sect has a rank 9 corpse. Knight Sorrow muttered. Unless it was a matter of life and death, no one would be willing to provoke them. After all, it might lead to a life and death struggle. How is it between you and Dachira? I think you're good. It's good that you treat each other with respect. Qing Emperor said. At first, he was worried that his disciple would be wronged if he married Dachira. After all, Dachira was famous for being domineering. Master, don't worry. Dachira has a thorough understanding of life. He gets along well with his disciple and family, Knight Sorrow said. That's good. Qing Emperor nodded and was relieved. Qing Emperor left. Knight Sorrow was thinking about how to fight a war to maximize the benefits. Only then would he give the other party a heavy blow. There was a teleportation array. However, if he did not follow the rules and attack the other party's base, the other party would also attack his base. It was equivalent to killing 1,000 enemies at the cost of 100. If the other party did the same, the people would be plunged into misery and suffering. Therefore, Knight Sorrow had to consider carefully. When Mandala arrived and saw Yishang deep in thought, she asked. Knight Sorrow sighed and told him his idea. You're worried about the losses. In fact, the other party has already attacked. We don't need to worry anymore. If we don't have the courage to go all out, we won't be able to fight the war, Dachira said. Knight Sorrow nodded. Dachira was right. However, he felt that he had to consider it carefully. Aluo, if we take down the Zhangwu dynasty's imperial palace in an instant, wash it with blood, and don't touch the other force's main city for the time being, how do you think the other party's alliance will react? Knight Sorrow looked at Dachira and asked. It's hard to say. Although it's an alliance, everyone has their own selfish motives. They are worried that if they attack our main cities, we will attack their main cities too. Therefore, it's a taboo. Don't talk about the alliance. Selfishness is human nature, Dachira said. That's good. I'll think about it first and see how to deal with one first. Also, I think that we have the advantage in a sneak attack. They can't. We can set up a teleportation array secretly. If they sneak attack, our troops will be there instantly. Their sneak attack will be ineffective, Knight Sorrow said. Since their sneak attack is ineffective, what else do we have to worry about? Just hit them where it hurts. If they are too cheap, we have to teach them a lesson. If they hurt, they will be honest, Dachira said. Then, Knight Sorrow and Dachira went to the command tent. Come, Knight Sorrow. This is the heart-cleansing tea you bought in your tea house. Sima Tian Chung waved at Knight Sorrow. Okay, thank you, Master. Knight Sorrow nodded and sat next to Sima Tian Chung. Do you have any ideas? Qing Emperor looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. I have some ideas, but I don't know if they will work, Knight Sorrow said. Chapter 1367. If you have an idea, then say it. Everyone listen. The Azure the Arch nodded. Knight Sorrow then shared his thoughts. This is a good idea. As long as we don't get attacked by a faction, they won't go crazy, said Red Emperor after everyone thought for a while. I'm just giving everyone some ideas. The war has already broken out. There's no point in being merciful to them, said Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow didn't say anything else. He just gave everyone some ideas. He wouldn't command the battle because it wasn't suitable for him. He just had to lead the Nine Heavens army. Knight Sorrow left the tent and returned to the Nine Heavens army's encampment. He watched the members of the god-slaying team cultivate. Liyue, how are the resources? Knight Sorrow shouted to Nan Liyue. Leader, we have all the resources. Don't worry, Nan Liyue said after coming over. If it's not enough, let me know. If we want to rise, "We can't lack resources," said Night Sorrow. After Night Sorrow left the tent, Li Tianba looked at Qing Emperor and the others. "Actually, I think it's good that Night Sorrow is in command. Why did he leave after coming up with the idea? He doesn't think it's suitable. Let's not force him," said Misty Rain. Then, the group of leaders started to discuss the battle plan. However, everyone felt that there was no need to rush. They should first set up the teleportation array in each faction's main city. If there was a problem, they could rush back to support immediately. On the third day after the Reincarnation World's army arrived, the Zhanwu dynasty led the Shinwu Great World's army to launch an all-out attack on the Black Fiend Valley. Qing Emperor arranged for the various armies to stop the attack and officially started the war. Night Sorrow led the Nine Heavens army to battle. Their target was Linfeng City. The army attacking Linfeng City was from the Zhanwu dynasty. When the Nine Heavens army arrived, Linfeng City had already been breached. The Mad Tiger army was attacking the city. Seeing this scene, Night Sorrow was enraged. He immediately gave the order to get into formation and kill the enemy. The Leitang and Dingxiang troops surrounded them. Night Sorrow rode on the Ice Qilin and charged at the very front. With a wave of space splitter, rays of light shot out in all directions. The soldiers of the Wild Tiger Corps, who were targeted by Night Sorrow, were dead. The Ice Qilin's body glowed with white light. That was the Ice Sealing Will and Ice Sealing Law. Even if it couldn't freeze a high-level king, it would still have a huge impact. In a war, even the slightest impact could be fatal. The Nine Heavens Legion sent out 6 armies this time. The Qishan army was currently stationed at the Qing Emperor's city. The Angry Qilin army, Thunder army, Dingxiang army, Onping army, Black Tiger army, and Storm army were all sent out. The Angry Qilin army had the strongest frontal combat ability, followed by the Thunder army, and then the Black Tiger army. Now that the Thunderclap army and Dingxiang army had surrounded them, Night Sorrow led the Angry Qilin army and the Black Tiger army to fight at the front. Genuine addition, no one could stop him. At this moment, Yishan's cultivation was close to that of a late-stage Star Venerate king. When he fought with his full power, he was like a killing god. The Zhanwu dynasty's army scattered under Yishang's lead. Declaring war in the world of reincarnation is a slap to our face. Whoever slaps our face will kill them. Night Sorrow roared. At this moment, the Nine Heavens Legion's morale was high. Because the commander was at the forefront, he could take lives with every move. Don't be so arrogant. This prince, Hu Shao, will kill you. A man in gold appeared. He was the third prince of the Zhanwu dynasty, Hu Shao. Night Sorrow knew that Hu Shao was a monarch. However, he wasn't afraid. He waved the sky splitter and began to fight. After the weapons clashed, the two separated. Night Sorrow's body shook and left the Ice Qilin's back. His body flashed and charged towards Hu Shao. At this moment, the Ice Qilin couldn't keep up with Night Sorrow's battle speed. When fighting against King, the Ice Qilin could cooperate with Night Sorrow. However, when fighting against a monarch, it couldn't help nor participate. Night Sorrow and Hu Shao fought fiercely in the air. Hu Shao was very strong. He constantly used a unique skill. Night Sorrow also had to use a unique skill to resist. Hu Shao was good at strength. His unique skill was also a support skill. Therefore, he could fight evenly with Night Sorrow. As Night Sorrow and Hu Shao fought in the air, the legions below were fighting. Hu Shao was shocked. He was already in the late stage of the monarch realm and had comprehended 97% of his willpower. However, he couldn't suppress King. Moreover, he kept using his unique skills. The Zhanwu dynasty had 2 kinds of secret techniques. One was a secret technique that combined the soul and Zhen Qi with a soul attack. However, only the most powerful people could cultivate it. The other was a secret technique that combined the body and Zhen Qi. Tiger Roar cultivated this kind of secret technique. It was a secret technique that combined the physical strength and Zhen Qi. Its attack was powerful and heavy, and it was suitable for direct combat. However, Night Sorrow cultivated the body, so the power of his secret technique was restrained, and he could not establish an advantage. Night Sorrow's unique skill was also restrained. Hu Zhao's head emitted a yellow halo that kept his soul from being affected. Therefore, he could withstand Night Sorrow's unique skill. The two of them continued to fight in the air. Violent waves of energy rolled around them. The legions below were also fighting. It was very intense. Broken bricks and broken tiles flew everywhere. Blood flowed everywhere. The Nine Heavens Legion didn't suffer heavy losses. Because of the formation, they could support each other and reduce the death rate. Seeing that his subordinates had suffered heavy losses and that he couldn't take down Night Sorrow, Hu Zhao didn't want to fight anymore. Fighting would only increase the number of casualties. He shouted and ordered his subordinates to retreat. Then he flashed away. Hu Zhao didn't want to fight, but Night Sorrow and the Nine Heavens Legion didn't want to. They started to chase him. Once the formation was messed up, their fighting power plummeted. Night Sorrow led his men and started a chase. However, after chasing for 1,000 miles, Night Sorrow ordered his men to stop. The enemy had started to scatter yellow fog behind them. Without knowing what it was, Night Sorrow couldn't let his men enter. Night Sorrow went in to investigate. He sensed that it was a poisonous fog that would corrode a cultivator's true chi. It would drive them crazy and make them unable to differentiate between friend and foe. Rage Qilin organized the troops. Check the losses. If you can save them no matter the cost. Don't give up on any of your brothers, Night Sorrow said to Rage Qilin. After giving Rage Qilin instructions, Night Sorrow returned to Overwind City. He took a teleportation formation to the command tent in Dragon Cloud Mountain Range. How is Night Sorrow doing? Qing Emperor stood up. The battle in Overwind City went well. Our Nine Heavens Legion didn't suffer heavy losses. We heavily injured the Tiger Warrior Legion. However, because they released a poisonous fog, I can't continue the chase. How are the other battles? Night Sorrow asked. There's no news yet. Their Sky Masters haven't moved. We're here to keep an eye on them. You're the first to come back, Qing Emperor said. Night Sorrow, you're good. Winning the first battle is a good start, Sima Tiancheng said to Night Sorrow. I didn't kill the enemy's commander. It's just that his defense is too good. His soul defense is too strong. He has an absolute art, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow felt a little regretful that he didn't kill Hu Zhao. First update. Chapter 1368. What secret technique? Dachira asked. My attacks are incomparably ferocious and heavy. In the past, my body's toughness and strength were my forte, but this time I couldn't suppress him. In addition, when I launched a soul attack, his head was protected by a halo, so I couldn't use the power of my unique skill, said Night Sorrow. It seems that you met a direct descendant of the Zhanwu dynasty. They are tiger beasts and have a sky tiger body. Their bodies are strong and their attacks are powerful. Not to mention suppression, it's good that you can withstand it, Dachira said. They don't have a soul defense technique. They must have a soul defense treasure. The one you fought must be a monarch. It's good that you didn't lose. Qing Emperor looked at his disciple with satisfaction. It was rare that king could fight against a monarch. Then, news came back one after another. There were victories and losses in the war, and both sides suffered losses. The Sima Residence's army suffered some losses. The Blackfiend Valley's Black Demon Army suffered some losses. The Demon Blood Army won, the Skyheart Army won, and the Greenscale Army suffered losses. Then, everyone made a summary of the war and the reasons why the armies lost. There were victories and losses in war. Everyone knew that this was unavoidable. No army was made of paper. There were bound to be losses in war. What they needed to study was how to avoid and minimize the losses. Then, there was the problem of the poisonous fog. Night Sorrow wasn't the only one who encountered it. The other defeated armies also encountered it. They are really unscrupulous. Everyone knows that they don't use poison in war. Although their poison isn't fatal, it's still poison, Sima Tiancheng said angrily. Master Sima, we in the world of reincarnation abide by this rule. However, They are occupying our world of reincarnation. Naturally, they will use unscrupulous means, Misty Rain said. Yes, I was too impatient. Sima Tian, Chung nodded. Then can we use poison? Li Tianhu asked. Of course, but we don't have any poison reserves. They are prepared. This is the difference. Qing Emperor said. In the Shenwu Great World, the Poison King Valley is one of the top forces. They are good at using poison and poison arts. We have to be careful when fighting with the people from the Poison King Valley. Their Sky Master's battle prowess is average, but they have many tricks up their sleeves. They also cultivate poison arts. Misty Rain said. She had wandered around the Shenwu Great World, so she knew some things about the Shenwu Great World. We need someone to deal with their Heaven Master. Prepare some antidote pills. They must be top-notch. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for us to suppress them, and we will be at a disadvantage, Qing Emperor said. I'll deal with her. I know the name of the 10,000 poison heavenly monarch. I want to see how poisonous she can be. Dechira said coldly. Aluo, here is a glazed golden core. Take it. It will be effective when you fight someone who cultivates poison. Night Sorrow took out a glazed golden core. Don't you remember me? When I refined it last time, I kept 2 of them. Dechira said with a smile. She was very happy. Night Sorrow didn't hide it from others and directly expressed his concern. This was love. F is the only F version carrot, and he was a pirated version. I forgot. Night Sorrow said, and threw the glazed golden core to Sandalwood. Junior brother, you were wrong. You should give it to your wife first. You only give it to your senior brother when your wife doesn't want it. Sandalwood said with a smile. Haha, senior brother must be joking. It was Aluo who said to deal with the 10,000 poison heavenly monarch. Junior brother was a little worried and forgot that I had this kind of pill. Night Sorrow explained with a smile. He knew that Sandalwood was joking because Sandalwood treated him as his own younger brother. Take it. Night Sorrow, how many treasures do you have to be able to forget about a top-notch pill like the glazed golden core? Sima Tian, Chung, shook his head. Ahaha, Night Sorrow is just a little careless. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Sima Tian Chung. Although they were facing a war, the people in the tent didn't feel much pressure. To be able to cultivate to the level of Sky Master, they had experienced a lot of ups and downs. Night Sorrow then walked out of the tent with Dechira. Night Sorrow, be careful. I'm a little worried about you. Dechira looked at Night Sorrow and said, Don't worry. I cultivate my body and can fight head-on. I cultivate the will of time and space. In terms of speed, even monarchs might not be as fast as me. You, on the other hand, I am worried about you. Night Sorrow turned and held Dechira's hand and said, I know. I will be careful. Because I like to spend time with you like this, I cherish it. Dechira squeezed Night Sorrow's hand and said, Night Sorrow gave Dechira 2 bottles of soul-extinguishing poison smoke. The other party was proficient in poison, but the soul-extinguishing poison smoke was also a strange poison. After the war started, battles occurred every day. It was in the Blackfiend Valley region because the Blackfiend Valley was the closest to the Thunder Cliff. This made Li Tianba fly into a rage. These were all losses because in every battle, even if the world of reincarnation won, the cities would suffer heavy losses. This was something that couldn't be helped. However, the Qing Emperor promised that after the war, everyone would assist in the recovery of the Blackfiend Valley region. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. There were battles every day. Night Sorrow also frequently led the 9 Heavens army to battle. Every time they went out, they would kill countless enemies. At this time, Night Sorrow had already registered in the Shenwu Great World. Everyone knew about Night Sorrow and the strength of the Qing Emperor's 9 Heavens army. After another battle, Night Sorrow felt that the golden light of virtue in his spirit sea was stronger. This was because he had received the recognition of the world of reincarnation's origin. It recognized that he had merit for the world of reincarnation, so his golden light of virtue was strengthened. During the war, people who fought for the world of reincarnation would more or less receive some luck and merit. Knight Sorrow's gains were obvious because he had the foundation of a body of merit. The effect was more obvious. This was what the doppelganger felt. The one who received the merit was the original body. When the original body's situation changed, the doppelganger would change. Knight Sorrow led the Nine Heavens army out on patrol every day. Wherever there was a battle, he would be informed immediately. He would then lead people to kill. Sometimes Dachira would follow Knight Sorrow out on patrol. She did not participate because she wanted to watch Knight Sorrow fight. Watching her husband fight would make her feel at ease. Today, when they received news that an army was charging towards Black Fiend City, Knight Sorrow led the Nine Heavens army to meet the attack. However, the opponent was clearly prepared. 3 sovereigns surrounded Knight Sorrow. The Nine Heavens army's general was blocked. The opponent wanted to kill Knight Sorrow. Among them was Hu Xiao, who had fought with Knight Sorrow before. The other 2 were a man and a woman. They were all sovereigns. The man had a gloomy aura, while the woman had a baleful aura. Being surrounded, Knight Sorrow naturally changed his tactics. The power of desolation spread into his body, strengthening his attack power. The space energy increased his speed, and he began to kill the man with the gloomy aura. Second watch. Chapter 1369. In a group battle, one had to display their speed and not be suppressed by others. In addition, one had to choose a target, grab a target, and kill it. With the full support of the will of space and the space law, Hu Xiao and the other woman's attacks all missed. This made Hu Xiao's expression change. After the previous battle, he thought that Knight Sorrow's speed was only slightly faster than his. However, the speed that Knight Sorrow displayed now was different from last time. In addition, the power of his attacks had also changed. He couldn't even stop him. Last time, when he fought with Knight Sorrow, Hu Xiao felt that Knight Sorrow was very strong, but not undefeatable. He felt that it would be difficult for him to kill Knight Sorrow alone and that it would be enough to find help. Then, he found Poison King Valley's Thousand Poisons monarch and his junior sister, Hu Quan, and prepared to kill Knight Sorrow when they met Knight Sorrow. Now, they met Knight Sorrow, but it was different from last time. Knight Sorrow was faster and stronger. It wasn't that Knight Sorrow had improved a lot during this period of time, but that the tactical arrangements were different. Last time, Knight Sorrow was more cautious and was a little conservative when fighting. However, this time it was different. 3 against 1. If the path of moderation didn't work, he had to display his strength to the extreme. He pursued speed, power, and attack power. Defense was secondary. In addition, the power of desolates spread into his body. It wouldn't be easy for anyone to hurt him. Knight Sorrow dodged Hu Xiao. His left hand occasionally used Shockwave Punch and Heaven Covering Hand to block Hu Quan's attacks. The Space Rend in his right hand was either Void Extreme Kill or Space Revolving Dragon Kill to suppress Thousand Poisons Monarch. Thousand Poisons Monarch wanted a curse because it was usually others who were afraid of him. However, Knight Sorrow treated him as a soft persimmon and suppressed him with attacks. He didn't dare to clash with Knight Sorrow's Space Rend and could only rely on his saber aura to fight with Knight Sorrow's radiance. Because the tip of his saber had been destroyed in the first clash, he really didn't dare to clash head-on with Knight Sorrow. Thousand Poisons Monarch was annoyed because the more he was afraid of clashing with Knight Sorrow, the stronger Knight Sorrow was. He dodged Hu Xiao and fought with Hu Quan, suppressing him. In the Nine Heavens army, Nu Lin and Qin Leitang were very anxious and angry. Knight Sorrow, with King's Cultivation, was now being surrounded by 3 monarchs. Who was Knight Sorrow? That was the Nine Heavens monarch soul of the Nine Heavens monarch. Now that they were being ganged up on, how could they bear it? They all fought with all their might to save Yishan. You've gone too far. Thousand Poisons monarch roared and raised his saber, drawing an arc in the air and slashing towards Knight Sorrow's Space Rend. The Nine Heavens army soldiers were furious, and so was the Thousand Poisons monarch. Great Emperor Reincarnation / At this moment, Night Sorrow changed his move and used his killer move. Under Hu Xiao and Hu Quan's suppression, Thousand Poison's monarch was as slippery as a loach. He really couldn't kill him. Now that Thousand Poison's monarch wanted to clash head-on, it was his chance to kill him. Thousand Poisons retreat. Seeing the purple halo rippling, Hu Xiao roared and stabbed at Night Sorrow's back. Original first. Release 9 heavy armor. Night Sorrow propped up the 9 heavy armor and used the power of Desolates to protect his body. He also used a shockwave shield to defend against Hu Xiao's attack. Night Sorrow didn't want to give up halfway with his killer move. He wanted to kill one of them. Thousand Poison's monarch, who was enveloped by Night Sorrow's killer move and didn't have a soul defense like Hu Xiao, fell into a daze. Just as he was in a daze, Night Sorrow's space rend pierced through space and pierced through Thousand Poison's monarch's forehead. The energy exploded, blowing Thousand Poison's monarch's head into pieces. Both his spirit sea and infant soul were annihilated into nothingness. However, at this time, Hu Xiao and Hu Quan's killer moves arrived. Hu Xiao's blade stabbed at the back of Night Sorrow's shoulder and continuously collided with the energy of Night Sorrow's protective shield. Then, it broke through Night Sorrow's protective shield and pierced into Night Sorrow's body. At this time, Night Sorrow's space rend reverberated and whipped towards Hu Xiao. The energy in Hu Xiao's right hand exploded. He planned to rush into Night Sorrow's body through his battle blade and explode Night Sorrow's body. However, in reality, the power of Desolates in Night Sorrow's body had already traveled through Hu Xiao's battle blade to Hu Xiao's right arm. The two types of energy collided within the battle blade. Zhan Hu's expression changed drastically. He knew how strong Night Sorrow was. If he didn't dodge, this whip would injure him. He pulled out his battle blade and retreated. However, Hu Quan seized the opportunity. The longsword in his hand followed the gap between Night Sorrow's arm and stabbed towards Night Sorrow's dantian. The 9 heavy armor flashed twice and blocked the energy on Hu Quan's longsword. However, it was still broken by the longsword. Hu Quan's longsword stabbed into Night Sorrow's waist. This was because Night Sorrow twisted his body and avoided his vital points. Hu Quan's longsword did not pierce his dantian. Night Sorrow's left hand used heaven-covering hand grab. His 5 fingers on his left hand clasped together and grabbed Hu Quan's longsword. He prevented the energy on Hu Quan's longsword from exploding and injuring his body. Then, the space rend in his right hand stabbed towards Hu Quan's head. Wind Cloud Shield. Hu Quan was unwilling to give up his longsword, so he took out a shield. The shield flashed with a green light and blocked the path of Night Sorrow's attack. Following an explosion, the shield was shattered by Night Sorrow's space rend. However, Night Sorrow's attack was also blocked. At this time, Night Sorrow's space rend slid down, and with an arc, it slashed past Hu Quan's arm that was holding onto the longsword, directly cutting off Hu Quan's arm. Hu Quan screamed and retreated. His weapon was still stuck in Night Sorrow's body. With his arm broken, how could he continue fighting? Night Sorrow turned around and used Great Death Destruction Slash towards Hu Quan, who was rushing over. After an explosion, Hu Quan was also sent flying. After sending Hu Quan flying, Night Sorrow grabbed Thousand Poison Sovereign's storage ring with his left hand and continued to chase after Hu Quan. At this time, Night Sorrow's longsword was still missing from his waist. On the longsword hung a broken arm. Because Hu Quan's right hand was clenched tightly, his arm was still holding onto the longsword, even though his arm was broken. Night Sorrow chased after Hu Quan to kill him, while Hu Quan was holding him back from behind. Looking at Hu Quan, who was attacking Night Sorrow from time to time, Hu Quan shouted, "Hu Quan, let's go." He knew that he had lost again today. The 3 of them had not succeeded in killing Night Sorrow. Now that Thousand Poison Sovereign was dead and Hu Quan was heavily injured, he and Hu Quan had no chance of killing Night Sorrow. Just you wait. If I don't kill you, I'm not human. Hu Quan's body flashed and landed in the midst of the battle. Hu Quan's body flashed, and he turned to run. Night Sorrow chased after him from behind. However, because Hu Quan had a soul defense and was extremely strong, it was very difficult for Night Sorrow to kill him. He also felt that his condition was deteriorating, so he did not chase after him. At this time, the Xiongnu dynasty's army was also scattered. Some were dead, and some were running away. Some of the opponents were killed, and some were forced to retreat. A few of the Nine Heaven Army's generals went to Night Sorrow's side. They were a little worried about Night Sorrow. At this time, Night Sorrow was also in a sorry state. His back was stabbed, and his battle robe was dyed red with blood. The long sword with the broken arm was still hanging on his waist. "Commander, we were held back and caused you to be injured. Please punish us." Nu Lin's face was full of guilt. Chapter 1370. Rage Qilin, what are you talking about? What punishment? We are all brothers. Furthermore, this is just an external injury. Isn't it worth it to kill a sovereign at the cost of some external injuries? Night Sorrow said with a smile. I'll help you, Commander, Wei Wei said. We'll talk about it when we get back. This sword has a mechanism. There are barbs inside. I can't pull it out directly. Night Sorrow said as he got on Ice Qilin's back and flew back to the camp. After returning to the camp, Night Sorrow went into his tent, put away the 9 heavy armor, took off his battle robe, and ate an antidote pill. After circulating the energy of the antidote pill throughout his body, the energy wrapped around the sword. Then he grabbed the hilt of the sword and slowly pulled it out of his body. Look at section unspecified currency of the original version at this time. Dechira came to the tent. She realized that the 9 Heaven Army had returned, so she came to see Night Sorrow. After arriving at the camp, she found out about Night Sorrow's situation. After glancing at Dechira, Night Sorrow continued to pull the sword out of his body slowly. The 2 sides of the sword were full of barbs. If he accidentally pulled it hard, the barbs would stand up. At the bottom of the barbs, there was a blue light. That was poison. When the sword entered his body, Night Sorrow felt that something was wrong. So, he used Heaven-covering hand to grab the sword and prevent Hu Quan from doing anything else. Night Sorrow took a towel and wiped the blood on his waist. Ah Luo, help me wipe the back of my shoulder. Who hurt you? I'll kill him first. Dechira did not take the towel. Her eyes were full of murderous intent. Hee, I've already killed one. The other 2 ran away, but one of them left a hand. Don't be angry. Come and help me wipe it. I'll change my clothes and make tea, Night Sorrow said. Are you in pain? Dechira's hand that was wiping Night Sorrow's shoulder trembled. That's nothing. All cultivators are injured. 3 monarchs surrounded me, and I managed to kill one of them. Isn't that great? Night Sorrow said with a smile. You're still laughing? Who hurt you? Dechira's eyes were filled with heartache. Hu Shao from the Xiongnu dynasty. I fought him once. This time, he brought 2 sovereigns with him. They're quite strong, but they're at a disadvantage, Night Sorrow said. Lord Ruler, I'm sorry. We didn't take good care of the commander. At that moment, Nu Lin and Wei Wei, who had been standing by the door, entered. It's not your fault. Nu Lin, Wei Wei, you 2 think too much. It's inevitable that there will be injuries in a war between armies, Night Sorrow said after tying his robe. But the commander is the soul of the 9 Heavens Army. No matter who gets hurt, the commander shouldn't get hurt, Nu Lin said. It's not your fault. Don't think too much. The war just ended. You 2 should go and take a look, Dechira said. Dechira was angry, but she knew who to be angry with. The soldiers of the 9 Heavens Army were Night Sorrow's brothers. This time, their target is me. Their people are madly blocking the 9 Heavens Army's general and commander. They won't let anyone come to my aid. They want to kill me, Night Sorrow said. Mandela nodded. She knew that during this period of time, Night Sorrow and the 9 Heavens Legion's glorious battle record had already been made known to the Divine Martial Great Worlds Alliance. They were already paying close attention to Night Sorrow, and if they had the chance, they would kill him. That won't do. I'll send someone to protect you. Dechira looked at Night Sorrow and said, Lord Ruler, there's no need. I'm here. At this time, Summer City came into the tent. His eyes were full of killing intent. Uncle Summer, why are you here? Night Sorrow asked. He remembered that Uncle Summer was resting in the city in the sky. His Majesty was worried about your highness, so he sent someone to inform me. From today onwards, I'll fight alongside your highness. Whoever hurts your highness will pay back 100 times. Summer City was furious. He had no family in his life. Night Sorrow treated him as his family and uncle. Now that he was hurt, he was angry and heartbroken. It was said that a woman's heart was easily hurt. In fact, it was the same for men. Thank you, Uncle Summer. From now on, we'll fight together, Night Sorrow said with a smile. He couldn't refuse such a thing and wouldn't refuse. Then I'm relieved. Dechira nodded. He knew Summer City's strength. He was a peak monarch. In the original Qing Emperor's dynasty, besides the Qing Emperor, he and Sandalwood were the strongest. What was a peak monarch? When one's willpower reached 90%, one would become a monarch. When one's willpower reached 97 to 99%, one would become a late monarch. They were called peak monarchs. Your Highness, I'll call Shangwan Hong and Xiandaozi. They really want to fight with your Highness, Summer City said. Xia Cheng said. They were all old brothers, so he could understand what they were thinking. The last time they had fought together with Yishan had been the happiest and most hot-blooded day they had been in recent years. Uncle Summer, Uncle Shangwan is suitable to follow Qinglin. As for Uncle Xiandaozi, it's up to him, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Okay, then I'll go, Summer City said and left. Dechira also left, but most people knew that Night Sorrow had been surrounded and killed. In the command tent of the Dragon Cloud Mountain Range, Qing Emperor's face didn't look too good. He already knew that Night Sorrow had been injured. Although the injury wasn't serious, it was still a signal. 3 monarchs besieging 1 king. They're really unscrupulous. However, Night Sorrow is also fierce. He killed 1, injured another, and ran away. There hasn't been such a king in history. Sima Tiancheng's eyes were full of praise. What was a talent? It was the most outstanding among the same level. There were king and monarchs all over the world. It wasn't rare. However, there wasn't a king who could fight and kill monarchs. From the current situation, it could be seen that as long as Night Sorrow entered the monarch realm, killing monarchs would be as easy as pie. But this won't do. Night Sorrow and the 9 Heaven Army are the most elite under the Sky Masters. If they target Night Sorrow, he'll be in danger, Precious Fragrance Heaven said. I've informed Summer City to go to Night Sorrow's side. With the 2 of them together, it won't be easy for the other monarchs to surround and kill them, Misty Rain said. Qing Emperor paced back and forth in the tent. He was very worried about the current situation. In the past countless years, he only felt so uneasy when something happened to Sandalwood. This isn't enough. It's not that I'm spoiling my disciple, nor am I spoiling my disciple. This won't do. What if some Sky Master shamelessly attacks? The last time the Martial Sacred Hall fought against my Qing Emperor's dynasty, they wanted to kill Night Sorrow, Qing Emperor said. Then who among us will protect him secretly? Li Tianba said. Actually, we just need to keep an eye on the other party's Sky Masters. If one is missing, it means there's still a move. I'll do it. I'll send a clone to keep an eye on it, Red Emperor said. Qing Emperor, we're all family. I'm more curious. Does Night Sorrow have the heavenly artifact? Sima Tiancheng asked with a smile. Chapter 1371. Hee. I trust everyone here, so I won't hide it anymore. Night Sorrow does have a heavenly artifact, but it's incomplete. It's the Qing Emperor's pagoda. It must have been broken when the human emperor fought with the Bloodblade Sovereign, Qing Emperor said. Incomplete? What a pity. Precious Fragrance Heaven said. Actually, Night Sorrow still had a chance to get the heavenly artifact, but he gave it up for me, Qing Emperor murmured. He felt that he owed Night Sorrow. He still had a chance to get the heavenly artifact, and he gave it up? Sima Tiancheng looked at Qing Emperor in surprise. Look at the original Z chapter. Then, Qing Emperor talked about how he was injured and his cultivation was destroyed. He didn't have much lifespan left, and Night Sorrow went to the Heaven and Earth Pavilion to fight. King went to the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. It wasn't easy. He risked his life. Master's safety is more important than the heavenly artifact. This is also a display of his character. I admire you. Your two disciples are unprecedented. Red Emperor cupped his hands at Qing Emperor. There are other ways to save me, but he still chose to do so. Qing Emperor nodded. How rare. We know why Celestial Sect and Martial Sacred Palace declared war on Qing Emperor's dynasty. Now that Night Sorrow is fighting every day, they will seize the opportunity to do anything. So we have to be careful. Precious Fragrance Heaven said. My junior brother needs to be sharpened. If he loses to King, or even an Emperor, then it's because he's not as strong as others. If any big shot attacks him, I, Sandalwood, will hunt him down to the ends of the earth, Sandalwood said coldly. Everyone in the tent didn't say anything because they knew that if they provoked Night Sorrow, Sandalwood would fight to the death. Night Sorrow recovered after a day of recuperation. His body was strong, and he only suffered external injuries, so it wasn't a big problem. However, Night Sorrow did not continue to fight, as the Nine Heavens army needed to be reorganized. Although he was injured, Night Sorrow was confident. Reality had proven that he could fight and kill monarchs. Monarchs were no longer a threat. Dachira often came to accompany Night Sorrow. If it wasn't because she had something to do, she could even sing along with her husband. Night Sorrow did not need to worry about the maintenance of the army, as his subordinates would take care of it. Summer City had returned, and so had Xian Daozi and Shangwan Hong. Uncle Shangwan, you have to follow senior brother Qinglin. Otherwise, his safety will be a problem, Night Sorrow said. Actually, I met Xia City on the way here. It was Crown Prince Qinglin who asked me to come to your highness. I went to the Azure Sky Pavilion to look for Xian Daozi, so we came together, Shangwan Hong said. That won't do. Senior brother Qinglin's safety is important. I can't be so selfish, Night Sorrow said. Your Highness, how about this? I'll arrange a team of shadow guards for Qinglin and Qingluan. What do you think, Your Highness? Summer City asked. If Uncle Summer says it's okay, then it's okay. There's no need to ask me, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Your Highness, the Qing Emperor's Guard, the Shadow Guards, and the Qing Emperor's City Guard all require your approval. We only have suggestions, Summer City said. When did this happen? I don't know. Night Sorrow was confused. Only Your Highness doesn't know. Everyone in the Qing Emperor's dynasty knows. Your Highness is now the regent, which means that the various departments can handle the small matters in the dynasty. However, the big matters, such as the Shadow Guards, the Qing Emperor's Guard, and the City Guard, all require Your Highness approval, Xian Daozi said. Uncles, you can handle these things as you see fit, Night Sorrow said. The Shadow Guards, the Qing Emperor's Guard, and the City Guard are the foundation of the dynasty. The use of these three forces must be approved by His Majesty and Your Highness. No one else has the right to do so. This is the principle. As for the deployment of the army, His Majesty and Your Highness are handling it together. This isn't a big problem, Summer City said. Night Sorrow then agreed, but he didn't mobilize the Shadow Guards. The Shadow Guards were good at assassination, but they weren't as good as the Qing Emperor's Guard in frontal combat. He asked Xian Daozi to send 2 teams of Qing Emperor's Guard to temporarily join Qinglin and Qingluan's army to protect them. These arrangements were very good. Night Sorrow then calmed down to think about the problem and the situation. Qinglin and Qingluan's camps were next to each other, but they were a bit far from the Nine Heaven army. When the two were drinking tea and talking about Night Sorrow's injury, Qinglin sighed. Father is right. There are some things we can't handle. Back then, Big Senior Brother was incomparably dazzling. Now, Little Junior Brother is showing off his abilities. However, this is also a risk. Actually, this is what we should bear. So, brother, you arranged for Master Shangwan to be by Night Sorrow's side? Qingluan asked. Qinglin nodded. This is the only thing I can do. Father will be happy if I do this. Qingluan looked at Qinglin. She knew that Qinglin's state of mind and awareness had changed. She was the same. At this time, 2 teams of Qing Emperor's Guard came to report. Qingluan asked and found out that it was Night Sorrow's arrangement. She smiled. Our brothers couldn't think of it, and we don't have the right to do it. However, Junior brother thought of it. It's good to have a junior brother like him. He's reliable. Huh, your thoughts are the same as mine. Actually, after junior brother appeared, our family changed a lot. For example, family banquets. Eating family banquets together. I didn't dare to think about it before. Father has changed, mother has changed, and we have changed too, Qing Lin said emotionally. Let's go see him, Qing Wan said. Night Sorrow was very happy about Qing Lin and Qing Wan's arrival. He also gave each of them a soft jade tendon pill. I'm a bit dizzy. We're here to see you, not to accept your gift, Qing Wan said with a smile. As senior brother and senior sister, you should come see me. As junior brother, it's normal for me to give senior brother and senior sister some gifts, right? Night Sorrow said with a smile. I don't have anything to give as a senior brother. We'll accept these pills. Qing Lin said. Uncle Xia, help me. Too many people have helped me in the past. I have to help those that I can. This is a soft jade tendon pill. This is a Yun spirit pill that can change one's aptitude. Send some to Danding Peak at the Tianding Gate in the Sky Mystic World first. There are a few more people that need to be given. The Tianding King at the Tianding Gate and the Big Dipper King of Big Dipper City. They have supported me all the way. Night Sorrow took out some pills and gave them to Summer City. I'll get it done. Summer City nodded. There are two more people that I don't know how to deal with. If I don't give them benefits, I'll feel guilty. If I give them to them, it'll feel like I'm doing charity and blasphemy. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Your Highness, please speak. I'll help you analyze. Summer City said. World Lord Yin Tianpa of the Wuji world and the woman beside him, Lin Ruoxu. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1372. Night Sorrow explained his thoughts in detail. I know the two of them. When your Highness got married, they came. Summer City said, the Flame World Lord helped me before. If he has any difficulties or needs, I will definitely help him. But if I rashly give him resources, isn't that a little too high profile? It's like giving alms. I don't want to ruin our friendship. Even if my cultivation level is higher than theirs, this respect has not changed. Night Sorrow said, yes, actually everyone has their own path in life. The friendship between gentlemen is as light as water. When they need help, you can help them. You don't have to do anything intentionally. Summer City expressed his opinion. That's fine. My persistence is not wrong. What I need to do is to work hard. When my family and friends need help, I need to stand up and have the ability to help. Night Sorrow said. After that, Summer City went to handle this matter. Night Sorrow, Qing Lin, and Qing Wan chatted for a while before they went to do their own things. On the latest, our chapter Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea and slowly studied the formation. Dechira came. Aluo, you aren't in the tent? Go take a look at the army in the dark abyss. Otherwise, they will think that I am holding on to you. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then are you willing to take me? Dechira sat beside Night Sorrow. Of course I am willing. You know me. Night Sorrow turned and pulled Dechira's hand. I don't know why, but my heart is flustered. After coming to see you, I feel at ease. Dechira held Night Sorrow's hand and said, don't worry. Night Sorrow reached out and touched Dechira's imprint on Dechira's hand. Dechira nodded. She trusted Night Sorrow because she was worried. I know. I'm no longer a vegetable that can be bullied by anyone. Yishang comforted Mandela once again. After Dechira left, Night Sorrow felt an indescribable feeling in his heart. He had changed Dechira's life, and he also cherished the life he had with Dechira. Just as Night Sorrow was thinking, Dechira returned. Are you studying formations? Dechira sat down beside Night Sorrow and asked. Yes, you're still worried. It's fine. Night Sorrow felt weird. In the past, Dechira's personality wasn't like this. He wasn't a sentimental person. Once the matter was said, it was over. Let's go out for a walk. Dechira looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Okay, let's go out for a walk. Night Sorrow looked at the half-completed formation and put down the pen in his hand. Night Sorrow walked out of the command tent. After walking for a while, there weren't many people left. Night Sorrow reached out to Dechira's hand. He liked to walk hand in hand with Dechira. When he was with Sikong Chuyu, Yanglei, and Aoi, he was still a little restrained. Now, he was more relaxed. However, when Night Sorrow reached out his hand, Dechira swung his arm and dodged it. When Dechira swung his left arm, Night Sorrow's mind went blank for a moment. This was because Dechira didn't have a beautiful Dechira on his left wrist. It's fake. Night Sorrow knew that this wasn't Dechira. This was Dechira's fated opponent, Dechira Chinensis. When he looked again, Night Sorrow noticed a difference. Dechira's black skirt had a white inner skirt and a black veil covering it. However, this Dechira Chinensis's inner skirt was red. Night Sorrow could confirm that this was Dechira Chinensis, but he didn't know how to deal with it. Dechira Chinensis was a titan. He couldn't win against him. Dechira represented love and luck. Dechira Chinensis represented evil and bad luck. Night Sorrow felt that this comment was very true. If he was unlucky now, it would be bad luck. Let's go back. I have something to tell you, Night Sorrow said. If they left the military camp, he would be in trouble and no one would know. I don't know what's wrong. It's useless for you to sense it. Today, no one can stop me from dealing with you. Dechira Chinensis's face turned cold. Then he stretched out his right hand and grabbed Night Sorrow. Dechira Chinensis didn't know what was wrong, but she felt that Night Sorrow had sensed it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have suddenly wanted to go back. Therefore, she didn't care and attacked directly. Night Sorrow stretched out his right hand and used infinite killing blow. Dechira Chinensis's attack was too fast. Night Sorrow used the will of time and the law to influence it. At the same time, he used afterimage. Danger. Night Sorrow knew that this was a danger. He couldn't withstand the attack of a titan because he wasn't even an overlord. With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow was sent flying. However, Night Sorrow also used afterimage. Then, the phantom crossed with his real body. Then he attacked again. This time, it was the Emperor's reincarnation / Seeing the purple halo burst out, Dechira Chinensis's expression changed. His body flashed and retreated more than 10 feet, dodging the purple halo. Then, he attacked again. His right hand covered Night Sorrow with a black vortex. Fast, too fast. Night Sorrow's expression turned solemn. He used Space Splitter again, followed by Death Destruction / The Mandala Lily retreated once more before charging forward once more. You've cultivated the Mandala's Great Death Annihilation / quite well. If it weren't for the fact that I wanted you alive, I would have let you try out the Great Death Annihilation / Night Sorrow's will of time and space wrapped around his body. He kept flashing his ultimate skills. Dechira Chinensis didn't fight force with force. Instead, she dodged his attacks and tried to capture him. The two of them fought with speed at the edge of the camp. Night Sorrow was highly focused. His speed and strength were at the maximum. You can still hold on? Okay, Mysterious Claw. Dechira Chinensis shouted. Her right hand drew a circle. A spinning energy flew towards Night Sorrow. At this time, someone hadn't noticed the battle. Nu Lin and the other generals came. They didn't know what was going on. Because this wasn't a spar, everyone could see. Lord Hegemin, why is that? Wei Wei called out. Stay back. Don't come over. She's not Dechira. Hurry up and hide. Call for help. Night Sorrow was anxious. If Nu Lin and the others came, it would be dangerous. He relied on the will of time and space to increase his speed. He could rely on his physical strength and void chi to resist. If Nu Lin and the others came, they would be killed. Nu Lin and the others were stunned. Then, Ning, who was the quickest, ran. He had to call for help at this time. He didn't know who Dechira Chinensis was, but she was a powerful figure. Night Sorrow said that she wasn't Dechira, so she definitely wasn't. After all, she was Night Sorrow's wife. Someone reported it. Don't blame me. Dechira Chinensis's attacks went berserk. This made Night Sorrow unable to hold on. He was hit by a palm and was sent flying. Then, Dachira chinensis continued to attack. She wanted to take care of Night Sorrow. Her purpose here was Night Sorrow. Second watch. Chapter 1373. Unsealed. After being sent flying continuously, Night Sorrow could not take it anymore. His true chi was unstable, and his speed and strength had decreased by a lot. He was directly hit by Dachira chinensis's Xian Luo claw. His body was sent flying, and blood spurted out of his mouth. Seeing that Night Sorrow was severely injured, Nu Lin, Qin Leitang, and the others started to charge forward. They knew that they were no match for the enemy, but they still had to do it. They couldn't let Night Sorrow be injured. However, they were too weak compared to Night Sorrow. They were directly defeated by Dachira chinensis and Luo Xiuzhen. Dachira chinensis waved his left hand and sent Night Sorrow flying with his energy. Then, he used Binding Spell on Night Sorrow and left the battlefield in a few flashes. The bound Night Sorrow was being carried by the Dachira chinensis. Night Sorrow bitterly smiled. He had tried his best to resist, but to no avail. After all, the Dachira chinensis was an overlord, and he was not someone he could contend against. Moments after Dachira chinensis left, Dachira, Qing Emperor, and the others arrived. All they could see was the rolling energy on the battlefield. Death energy, Dachira chinensis. Dachira's face was filled with murderous intent. She understood why she was so flustered. It was an omen. Darkness Master, what's going on? The Red Emperor's doppelganger, who was monitoring the other party, said. She's my destined opponent. She's here, but I didn't expect her to target Night Sorrow, Dachira said. What should we do? Misty Rain asked anxiously. New update 2. New update 4 above 1 inch, I'll think of something. Dachira's eyes were filled with anger and worry. Dachira went to Night Sorrow's tent and tried to calm down. Since Dachira chinensis had appeared, she would be able to sense it if she calmed down. Dachira chinensis carried Night Sorrow and flew quickly. In an instant, they arrived in a bamboo forest. There was a thatched cottage in the bamboo forest. Dachira chinensis directly threw Night Sorrow to the ground in front of the thatched cottage. 8-star King, it's rare to have such strength. If you become a monarch, it will be difficult for me to deal with you. We don't have any grudges, right? Night Sorrow asked, his dantian sealed, but he could still speak. No grudges. The conflict between Dachira and I originally had nothing to do with you. However, you are her husband, so it's different. Also, I heard that you have the heavenly artifact and the soft jade tendon pill. I want them, Dachira chinensis said. The heavenly artifact is with my original body. Even if I have it with me, I can't give it to you. If you want a soft jade tendon pill, no problem. If we don't interfere in each other's business in the future, I can give it to you now, Night Sorrow said. Do you have the right to negotiate with me? Dachira chinensis sneered. Do you think I don't? Night Sorrow moved his finger and the Pearl of Annihilation appeared in his hand. Pearl of Annihilation, what are you doing? Dachira chinensis took 2 steps back because the Pearl of Annihilation was too powerful. It's useless to threaten me. You're not the first person to threaten me. I'm just a clone. With the Pearl of Annihilation, all your tricks are useless, Night Sorrow said. Won't you lose a lot? If you self-destruct, won't the treasures on you still belong to me? So, you can't scare me, Dachira chinensis said. You're wrong. I can tell you the truth. As long as you touch me, I won't hesitate to activate the Pearl of Annihilation. You should know that I'm the Realm Lord and have the world's origin. Do you think you can control the world's origin? You're thinking too much. If I self-destruct, the world's origin will take everything that belongs to me and leave. Do you want to try the power of the world's origin? After saying that, purple light rippled above Night Sorrow's head. You could try if you want to target me. The 9 regions origin bead said. Night Sorrow, even if you self-destruct, you'll lose this powerful clone, right? The one who loses is still you. Dachira chinensis looked coldly at Night Sorrow. So what? At most, I'll just cultivate another clone. It's useless to threaten me. Night Sorrow looked at Dechira Chinensis. At this moment, it was a battle of wits and ruthlessness to see who had the higher IQ and who was more ruthless, including being ruthless to himself. Useless? If I kill you, how many clones can you cultivate? Don't force me to fight to the death with you. Dechira Chinensis's eyes emitted 2 rays of ominous light. However, if you force me, it won't do you any good. I'm a virtuous person. As long as you force me to self-destruct, you won't have any luck in the world of reincarnation. If you don't have good luck, you might die. It's up to you to believe it or not. Night Sorrow closed his eyes and meditated after saying that. Dechira Chinensis was very angry. Now, she really didn't dare to force Night Sorrow because it would really lead to consequences that she didn't want to face. Dechira Chinensis came out this time to fight with Dechira. Her goal was to kill Dechira. As long as she killed Dechira, she could gather the luck of Dechira Chinensis, and the love of heaven and earth. Perhaps she could take that step. After knowing that Dechira was married, Dechira Chinensis planned to start with Night Sorrow. However, she found that Night Sorrow was a tough nut to crack. She couldn't use force. Night Sorrow could self-destruct, and Night Sorrow was a virtuous person. If she forced Night Sorrow to self-destruct, it wouldn't do her any good. Night Sorrow and Dechira Chinensis were in a stalemate. Night Sorrow couldn't escape, and Dechira Chinensis didn't want to block her path. At this time, Dechira arrived at the 9-domain world in the Heaven Sealing Palace. When Dechira arrived, Night Sorrow also came out of the Heaven Sealing Palace. Night Sorrow told Dechira about the situation and the current situation. Okay, I'll go over now. Dechira said. Okay, I'll fight with her. I feel that she's not as strong as you, but you still have to be careful. Since she attacked, she must have planned it. Night Sorrow said, I know. This is a fated battle. Since I'm here, I'll have a good fight. I just didn't expect her to attack you. Be careful, but don't self-destruct unless you have no choice. Dechira said. Then Dechira told Night Sorrow the reason. The integrity of a cultivator's soul was very important. Cultivating a clone meant that the soul was split, but it was still complete. However, if one self-destructed, even if they cultivated another clone, they would still lose a part of their soul. An incomplete body would be very difficult to cultivate. It didn't conform to the laws of heaven. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't want to self-destruct, but if he was forced to, he had no choice. He just hoped that Dechira could arrive in time. Night Sorrow had analyzed Dechira and Dechira Chinensis's strength. Night Sorrow and Dechira were husband and wife. The two of them cultivated together. Night Sorrow knew Dechira's strength very well. His attacks were very powerful. Dechira Chinensis couldn't do that, but Dechira Chinensis's speed was very fast. This was his strength. Aluo, that Dechira Chinensis is very fast. You have to be careful. Night Sorrow reminded Dechira. Okay, I'll be there soon. Dechira said. Speak. Chapter 1374. Unsealed. Night Sorrow's clone in the Burning Sky Hall gave Dechira the concentric crystal. Night Sorrow's clone had the concentric crystal, but he couldn't use it now as it would alert Dechira Chinensis. Night Sorrow's 2 clones could locate each other. Dechira and Night Sorrow's clones in the Sealing Sky Hall could locate each other. Dechira returned to the world of reincarnation and started the chase. Qing Emperor, Zhan Tan, and the others were very anxious, but there was nothing they could do because Dechira Chinensis had run away and they couldn't find him. Dechira Chinensis looked at Night Sorrow and paced back and forth. Are you really going to fight me head-on? Dechira Chinensis looked at Night Sorrow and asked, I'm not the one who wants to fight you head-on. You're the one who found me, so I have to persevere until the end. Night Sorrow said, Okay, since that's the case, we'll slowly fight later. Dechira Chinensis waved her arm and flew with Night Sorrow wrapped around her. She was also worried that others would locate her. After Datura Chinensis entered the world of reincarnation, she did some investigation and knew that Night's Sorrow wasn't simple. She knew that touching Night's Sorrow would be like poking a hornet's nest. Datura Chinensis couldn't do anything because Datura was tyrannical and she couldn't fight him head-on. Besides Night's Sorrow, he had no weakness. Datura Chinensis had entered the world of reincarnation for decades, even before Night's Sorrow. However, Datura had no weakness, so she couldn't attack him. After Datura got married, Datura Chinensis knew that Datura had a weakness, but she didn't have a good opportunity to attack him because if she touched Night's Sorrow, a few heaven masters would attack her. She couldn't handle it. Now that the Samsara Great World was facing the attack of the Shenwu Great World, the heaven master could not spare any time to help, so she took action. However, Datura Chinensis knew that Datura would definitely take action. The war in the Samsara world was definitely not as important as Night's Sorrow in Datura's heart. Therefore, Datura Chinensis could not stay in one place. If Night's Sorrow was an ordinary person, then Datura Chinensis would have killed him directly. This would cause a crack in Datura's mental state and affect Datura's luck and aura. However, Night's Sorrow had a body of merit. If she killed Night's Sorrow, she would lose more than she gained. She would be condemned by the heavenly Tao. Datura Chinensis planned to slowly grind and look for an opportunity. As long as Night's Sorrow was in her hands, she felt that she would have a chance. Night's Sorrow's clone in the heaven-sealing Great Hall communicated with Datura and told her about the current situation. At the same time, he reminded Datura that Datura Chinensis's target was her. His own safety was not a big problem. Datura also understood this point. Datura Chinensis's target was her. As long as he killed her, his luck would flourish. Datura Chinensis carried Night's Sorrow and flew without stopping at all. Datura Chinensis arrived at a special location. Then, she took out a teleportation array disk and started to teleport. Then, she changed the crystals on the teleportation array disk and teleported continuously. Night's Sorrow could not remember the way because she had entered a few small spaces. Night's Sorrow could not locate her location. After changing a few more spaces, Night's Sorrow saw a pitch-black river. The river appeared from the void and entered the spatial world. Then, it flowed in the spatial world. Night's Sorrow knew that this was the Netherworld River. Even your main body and clone can't locate this place because the energy of the Netherworld River interferes with your location. Everything you do is in vain. Of course, you can stay with your main body, Datura Chinensis said. You won't succeed, Night's Sorrow said. Is that so? You are young and don't understand. As long as I trap you, Datura will be uneasy. Her mental state will soon be broken. Isn't that enough? What do you think the world will think if their husband is captured? If her mental state doesn't break in 10 years, what about 100 years? If her mental state doesn't break in 100 years, I will continue to trap you, Datura Chinensis said. Ruthless. Datura Chinensis's move was very ruthless. If she could not save Night's Sorrow, Datura's heart would be tormented. In addition, her reputation would be greatly damaged. This was Datura Chinensis's goal. If Datura's mental state was broken, Datura Chinensis's opportunity would come. He could calmly make arrangements to deal with Datura. Night's Sorrow's clone and Datura in the Heaven-Sealing Hall told Datura to return because they had to make a new plan. When Datura arrived at the Heaven-Sealing Hall, Night's Sorrow told Datura about the current situation. I didn't expect her to be so ruthless. She wants to use you to break my mental state. My Tao heart is destroyed. She doesn't need to kill me. I will be destroyed. Datura's face was filled with anger. Datura Chinensis's method was very despicable. Everyone knew that it was not a family member's fault. However, as a giant, Datura Chinensis was unscrupulous. Aluo, she thinks that her scheme is very useful. In fact, from another perspective, it is completely useless. Because she thinks that you can't save me, you will feel guilty and lose face. But in fact, what can she do by trapping me? Aluo, I've fought with him before. He's much stronger than me because his comprehension of willpower is deeper. He has a perfect willpower. But give me some more time. I don't need you to do anything. I can save myself, said Night Sorrow. Really? Dachura looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes. As long as I enter the monarch realm, she won't be able to kill me. I can leave and run as I wish. It won't take too long. It will only take 3 to 5 years, Night Sorrow said. Good. That little bitch. She really pisses me off. She is so shameless. Dachura scolded. Aluo, this is not like you. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He knew that everything was fine. Dachura scolded, which meant that his emotions had stabilized. There was no pressure in his heart. Why is it not like me? Can't I be popular? She is too infuriating. Dachura said. Let's go to the battlefield. Right now, the war between the reincarnation Great World and the divine martial Great World is more important. Let my master and the others know that I'm fine. Didn't the Mandala Lily want to compete with us in patience? Let's try it out, said Yishan. Dachura nodded. She believed in Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was already a merit saint in the 9 regions world. He was blessed with luck. In a world of reincarnation, he was also a merit saint. Some time ago, Night Sorrow led the allied forces to drive the Lord of Heaven Thunder Fire out of the position of the City Lord of Reincarnation City. He had returned peace to the world of reincarnation. Staying in Dachura Chinensis's nest, Night Sorrow calmed down. It was enough for him to cultivate diligently. As long as he cultivated to the monarch realm, he would be able to fight with Dachura Chinensis. Dachura Chinensis did not care about Night Sorrow. She felt that capturing Night Sorrow was enough. She just wanted to make Dachura suffer. Besides, she could not do anything to Night Sorrow. She did not dare to kill Night Sorrow. It was not good for her to hurt a cultivator with a merit body. If she didn't go overboard, then Yishang's life or death wouldn't be affected by karma. After Mandala sealed Night Sorrow's dantian, she did not make things difficult for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was too lazy to remove the seal. The death energy was overbearing, but it was nothing in front of the void energy. Besides, Night Sorrow had the Underworld Stone. When he used the Underworld Stone, the death energy that Dachura Chinensis left in his dantian disintegrated instantly. This threat was nothing. Speak. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.